Martinsville, Virginia, after the 6th caution of the day. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jamie McMurray, Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin, and Mark Martin leading the field as we go back to green. Now, Casey Kane did make a pit stop after leading 1 lap, so he restarts back at the tail end of the line.
Got those 5 points.
Oh, this is when you got a tippy toe just a little bit right here, when they got all these cars together like this. Somebody slides up, gets into you, knocks you out of line.
The caution brought out by Jeremy Mayfield. He's in the garage with Steve.
And Mike, you just gotten out of the race car. Jeremy, what happened? Can you guys are working on it? Can they get you back out there?
Well, we're going to try. You know, they do a good job of that. So we'll just have to see what happens. But just, I don't know, just went in turn 1 and like the rear brakes or something locked up or wheel hop or something. But just what a good day for him.
Of course, Jeremy came in here 12th in the points, but he was only 9 points out of 10th. And with this chase for the championship, 26 races, a day like today can really hurt you. And again, if you put too much rear brake, you can get that wheel hop. You get down there in the corner, you get on the brakes real hard, and the tires just start jumping up and down, and it'll snap around on you like Jeremy's did.
Coming to the front, Bobby Labonte. In that interstate number 18, he's up to 7th place.
In the race that he won here, it was a typical day like today. He didn't qualify that well. At lap 100, he was in the top 15. Lap 200, he was in the top 10. Next thing you know it, he was in the top 5 and bidding for the win.
Mark Martin just got taken by Rusty Wallace on the outside, Darrell, coming off turn 2. Rusty did it the hard way.
Well, we saw here last year or so, since they ground the racetrack, that top groove really come in well. I haven't seen a lot of passes up here today, but as the bottom gets slicker, the top will get better.
But you know what, guys? It's been years since we've seen this 2 and this 6 car racing each other like this. This is good to see. This brings back a lot of memories from Martinsville.
I think Martin just backed off a little early right there and let Rusty get down in there. He knew he's, oh, trouble down here, guys.
Michael Waltrip's around. Morgan Shepherd sneaks by on the high side. Caution waves.
And Michael was up, he was up to 13th, and the car looked really good.
What was that all about?
Now, Jeff Burton, the 99 car, he will not be the free pass car, even though he's the 3rd car in line, because Jeff's 3 laps down. We'll have to get a reading. I think it's going to be Ricky Craven in the 32 car that will get the free pass.
See what happened to Michael Waltrip in turn 4.
Oh, gee, he just got, the 21 car just went in there a little too hot and slammed into the back of him. Oh, you see Michael get a little loose, causes him a little momentum off of 2. Ricky didn't lose much momentum. Looked like he might have gained a little.
Ricky almost slid up into Michael. Things happen fast here at Martinsville. We're under caution again in the Advanced Auto Parts 500. Welcome back to Martinsville, where Jeff Gordon, who has dominated, leading 180 laps this far, has a problem with the right front of his DuPont Chevy. He's hit something hard.
Yeah, I think something's hit him hard, Mike, because there's nobody around him. Oh, there's your problem. Here's your problem right here. I think a piece of concrete possibly came up and hit Jeff Gordon's car.
So something off into turn 3.
Something happens right along in there. You see the dust fly up and you see the pieces flying. The track's must have a hole in it right there.
Here's a better look.
Boom, right there.
Wow. Now, the pits have not yet opened under this caution flag. They've been closed for some time, Dick Berggren.
Well, Jeff Gordon did say that he thought it was a piece of the racetrack that had come up and hit the right front corner of his race car. He is very unhappy, not surprisingly, behind the wheel of the car, feeling that he is having to pay a penalty for the facility on which he is racing this afternoon. Gordon has led the most laps so far today, currently in 2nd spot. He will pit. He will be bringing that car down on pit road so the crew can take a look at it, make whatever repairs are necessary, but most important, to diagnose the seriousness of the problem on the right front. He said he hit so hard it actually jerked the steering wheel out of his hands when it hit.
That had to be quite a chunk. Now we listened in.
Just make sure everything is clear and good. We'll be okay. Just make sure everything's clear and good there, guys. Go ahead and change the tires also, right? 10-4. We're going to put 4 tires on it. I want a
opened the hood up and looked inside there, make sure it didn't take out anything underneath there. It jerked the wheel out of my hand.
So we're under caution here at Martinsville, Virginia at 290 laps. This one brought out when Michael Waltrip spun off the bumper of Ricky Rudd. Vance Auto Parts 500 on Fox is brought to you by UPS, the official express delivery company of NASCAR. We want to race the truck. People love the truck. 290 laps, and the red flag has been issued.
I'm in love with my Virginia, and I hope she don't change her mind. Fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, rolling them wheels and it's waiting for me there. Fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, rolling them wheels and it's waiting for me there. Wait for me there.
Fire on the mountain, crevice in the track, and Jeff Gordon, like many drivers, Dale Jr. among them, have climbed from their cars because the red flag has been issued. That piece of concrete that hit Gordon's car was just part of a bit that has loosened up there at the entrance of turn number 3. So the track has developed a cavity in the concrete that NASCAR is going to have to address before we continue this race.
Yeah, it's a huge hole, but you know that concrete's been down there for probably 20-25 years, and then they ground on it last year. And you see that black stuff, all that tar and stuff. They had cracks in the track all around it. They went around and put tar in all those cracks. Clay Campbell said they're going to resurface this thing after the race. So looks like he knew what was anticipating.
There, one thing I noticed looking at all these drivers get out of their race car, all of them are soaking wet.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I'd say to some of them, this is kind of a welcome break.
Oh, yeah, this halftime break is falling right in the hands of some of them because they were getting pretty burned up.
Dale Jr. looking at the crack in the track. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. Dick Bergman?
I'm walking down the backstretch with Robbie Loomis, crew chief for Jeff Gordon. What do you make of the damage on the car? How bad is this?
You know, we got to check it out. It's real unfortunate. You know, the racetrack, NASCAR saw the track was tearing up there a little bit. They were getting ready to put out a caution. Just unfortunate, you know, I looked like we knocked the nose off it pretty good and back in, but I think we'll be able to get it fixed up. The thing is, we got to get our track position back. Hopefully NASCAR will work with us on that. And I'd like to say hello to my mom, and thanks for all the doctors at Halifax Hospital, and so hello to Pop and them at home, and John, and just everyone, thank you for all they've done. But we got to get this race car fixed up. We got a good car to win Martinsville. We're going to do it.
Can you still win?
Oh, yeah, we can do it.
All right, that's what we like. Optimistic attitude, Mike.
Saw track president Clay Campbell on the scene with Steve Draper, Mike Helton, NASCAR's president, having a look as all the drivers, defending Cup champ Matt Kenseth, they're all out. Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, they're all out of their cars.
What do you think they're talking about, Mike?
The last 300 laps, maybe.
I don't think it's about the hole in the track.
Yeah. Looked like Dale Jr. kicked it up and smack into the right front of Jeff Gordon. Here you'll see it from Junior's car. Right there.
Yeah, I think Junior loosened it up, and then when the 24 car Gordon came across there, he just took it off and under his car.
The stickiness of these tires and the side bite that they create was devastating to the asphalt surface, so they put the concrete down, and it has held up quite well to this point for many, many years. Kyle Petty with an ice pack.
Oh, listen, if I was driving out there today and they had this little break right here, I'd be thrilled to death.
I was a cue ball where somebody ran into me. Ricky ran into me.
Michael Waltrip, Dale Jr. walking away from the hole in the track at turn 3, and Jeff Gordon is making his case to Mike Helton about, you know, hey, we're going to have to stop, but can I have my track position back? And there's a piece of asphalt that's still partly secured, or a piece of concrete partly secured by that sealer. Dick Bergman?
I'm with Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's just been out there and taken a look at that hole in the racetrack. What'd you see?
That's a hole. I don't know how it came up there, you know, because I guess there's we're putting a lot of force on the track right there or whatever, but it's been busted up before, and you can see where they fixed it or sealed it somehow. But they can just fill it up, put some epoxy underneath it, let that dry, and so it won't come back out. But, you know, just a quick little fix. We'll be going in 30 minutes or so.
Looked like you hit it first. Is your car okay?
I didn't think I hit it ever. I saw the chunk laying up on the track. It looked like about the size of a piece of lead, block of lead, and I just kept going under it, and waiting on them to throw the caution. I thought surely they were going to do something, and I think Jeff's car hit it, and it's hurt Jeff's car pretty good, I think. I don't know how bad in a suspension area, but the body's tore pretty good. Just unfortunate. That's kind of stuff to get a hold of you, but yeah, just a old racetrack, and we'll fix her up and keep going.
Okay, thank you. Steve?
Thanks, Dick. Rusty Wallace talking to Larry Carter, Jeffrey Thousand, some of the other boys on the team. Rusty, you guys have been top 5 all day long.
Yeah, I got a good car. We really do. We've had great pit stops throughout the day, and I think we've only had one bad one all day long, but the car's really handling good, and I'm really trying to take care of the brakes and letting out the throttle right at the start-finish line, floating it in, and just trying to really conserve everything. That's kind of my strategy going in. If I can make it past the 250 lap mark and have a real good car underneath me, then you got some stuff left to race at the end.
And Rusty, listening to you on the radio, you guys have made very minor adjustments or no adjustments at all. That's usually a sign of a very good race car.
Yeah, we've put 2 rounds of wedge in it since we've started, and that's about it. And I just told Larry, I'm not for sure that last one we need it at all, so we might get it back out. But other than that, I think we got a great car. We just got to be patient, and the top groove's really working good. And off at turn 4 on the bottom, there's a little bite there. So just trying to make all the right moves and be patient, because you can tear the body up so easy here without trying. It's unreal.
Good luck today, Rusty.
Thank you.
Back upstairs to Mike.
Darrell, at the top of the day, we talked about what Tony Stewart had to do to overcome his 30th starting spot. And I remember as I asked you that, I said all Jeff Gordon has to do starting first and with the best pit selection is keep his nose clean.
Yeah,
oh,
well,
my gosh.
He just got
what happened?
He just got it mashed in, I can tell you that.
There with Robbie Loomis and car owner Rick Hendrick.
I'm sure what they're trying to do is say, look, it's not our fault. Track tore up. Let us fix that fender. At least let us pull it out.
Well, you can't touch the car under the red flag. That's a pretty hard, firm rule.
No, Sterling can attest to that.
Yes,
so.
that's true. And here's Jeff Gordon's crew. They have fabricated a patch to go over the sheet metal and the fiberglass that makes up that front valance.
I can't see that right front real well, but I think that might be overkill for here. I think I'd just take that tire off, get me a big hammer, and knock that bad boy back out there and let her buck, because I don't think I'd want to put all that back on my car, just knock it off again.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing you've got to just make sure that nothing rubbing the tire. Aerodynamics, yeah, I mean, aerodynamics plays a role here. We even heard in the truck series yesterday, in clean air, those trucks would turn better. But I'm like you, Darrell, don't get too carried away fixing that thing. Don't get too creative.
I think I'd like that fresh air blowing in on my brakes and right front tire, to tell you the truth.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Jeff Gordon right now is having conversation with his crew, telling them what has happened out there. How about some conversation with us, Jeff? What happened?
You tell me. A huge piece of concrete was in my way. I'm laughing about it now, but I'm not happy about this. I mean, we worked so hard to get that track position. We've got such an awesome race car. And there's no doubt in my mind we can do it, but man, is it going to be a lot of hard work. And first we got to come in and fix it, when we go back racing. I think they said they're going to try to patch it with some kind of an epoxy, but they got a pretty serious problem over there, and unfortunately I hit it and hit it really. I mean, it could have been worse. Could have went underneath the car. Luckily it hit with the right front. It seems like it went around the right front.
How much of the car do you believe is damaged? Is the suspension okay?
I think the suspension's fine. It's mainly just the fender, and and it's just in on the tire right now. It jerked the wheel out of my hand, so there could be a little bit of toe knocked out on it, but we'll check all that. We're going to check it really good, and it's just unfortunate. Man, what an awesome day we're having. Great race car, great pit stops, and that thing is just such a dream to drive. Wow, it just goes everywhere I want it to, and I was looking forward to racing Junior there, and we're not going to give up on them yet. We're going to fight until this thing's over, and hopefully we'll get back in victory lane again for the 3rd time here at Martinsville.
Well, Robbie Loomis said he thought you guys could still do that today. Do you think you can win the race still?
Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind I think we can. A lot of things are going to have to work in our favor. First, we got to get that car fixed. Then we're going to have some pit stops. We might free the car up a little bit. Now we're going to be back in traffic. Even though we're on a short track, aero does mean a little bit. So especially I don't know what that fender is going to be like when we get done. So we've certainly got the car. I don't think there's a better car out there, that's for sure.
No give up here. Absolutely no give up in the number 24 team, Mike.
No, certainly not. They think they can win it. Here's another look. This one from Jeff Burton and you see the piece of concrete fly off the right front. There it goes. That's a big chunk.
It was a huge chunk, and you see that fire coming out those tailpipes too. But you know, Mike had trouble at Texas with a battery. Seems like he just every week it's like it's something.
You can't make all your own luck, can you, Darrell?
No, but he has been doing. That's what he was always so good at, was always having really good luck.
NASCAR President Mike Helton has a look at the damage on Jeff Gordon's car. Now, let's go back to Michael Waltrip's spin and watch down on the bottom right of the screen. There's a chunk of concrete rolling past, and that may have been the first piece to loosen up. That may well have been the piece that was sitting. Now that's way too far out of the groove.
That was just that was the beginning right there,
Mike. That's turn 4.
Yeah, that was the beginning.
That's past where the incident happened. By the way, nice shots, folks. Our Fox camera crew right in on the detail, and there's the epoxy patch and a little bit of heat going on it to dry things out as we get an unofficial halftime break here at Martinsville Speedway. A welcome one for the Sadler brothers. Elliott on the left, Hermie on the right. There's another angle. Michael Waltrip's spin. And there Ricky Rudd hits a chunk of concrete with the front air dam and sends it up turn 4 and out of the way.
I think that's the same piece of concrete we saw roll by Michael Waltrip's car.
And like a cavity, once it gets in there, it just keeps getting, that hole keeps getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. Well, if you ever lived in New England, you'd understand. So enough about potholes. Let's go to Chris Myers for our unofficial Visa halftime report.
Yes, this is a Visa race break. Get out your epoxy, everybody, and stick around. How much longer do you think before they get racing, Jeff Hammond?
Well, it depends on what type of epoxy they're using there. We know for a fact that a lot of the race teams do use epoxy from time to time when there's holes in like oil tanks or oil pans, and it takes about 3 to 4 minutes for it to really get set up. This big a hole, I'd say probably 20, 25 minutes, they probably go back racing.
All right, so we got a little dry. I know when it first happened, you said when they talked about what are they going to do to fill this hole, you said epoxy before. Have you seen this kind of thing before?
I've never seen this quite a situation before, because you got to realize, Chris, we don't run that many concrete racetracks to begin with, you know, with only Dover and Martinsville as well as Bristol having these type of situations, you know, could possibly occur. But I do know that NASCAR with the safer barriers have been carrying a special type of epoxy in case they have to repair them in event of damage. So I'm sure that's what they're using right now.
And what can NASCAR do? We saw Mike Helton to give them relief. We heard from Robbie Loomis. We heard from Jeff Gordon. Track position, and to be fair in their situation. Again, currently under a red flag with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jeff Gordon second. He was running second at the time.
That's going to be that man we see right there, Mike Helton, because, you know, as he would probably tell you, NASCAR should not ever interfere as far as determining the outcome of a race, but this is something that was totally out of Jeff Gordon's hands. He was a victim. Now, how they view that will be strictly up to them.
We're stalled at lap 291 of 500 here at Martinsville as you get a check of the drivers, and Hermie Sadler with a burn on, it looks like the lower right portion of his leg.
What that is right there is that calf area. They lay their leg against the tunnel of the race car a lot of times, and when you're trying to drive around there, that is a very sensitive part of your leg. And what has happened, he's probably got a blister that's come up because of these high temperatures today. Didn't have that area padded very well around the tunnel area, where a lot of exhaust heat comes up, and he's probably got a pretty severe burn there.
Temperature over 80 degrees, as we talked about inside the car, 130, 140 degrees, depending upon where you are. As you look at Bobby Labonte, whose son celebrated his 10th birthday today. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who talked moments ago about what he saw when the track kind of came apart with Jeff Gordon racing by. As we continue with our Visa race break, let's check in with Matt Yoakum.
Well, it was a hit and almost a somewhat miss by Jimmy McMurray with a bag of ice water on your teammate there. You almost got him.
Yeah, it was close. I was going to come over and tell him he had his shirt off, that since the Janet Hill, you can't be walking around with no top on.
Well, how...
He was one of the Panama City last week. I wouldn't.
Oh. Well, we're showing a replay of your hit.
What's that?
We're showing a replay of your hit there with the bag of...
Junior? Yeah, he came by, and I can't really tell you what he said, but he was just laughing, saying that was a buddy hit, so no harm.
Actually, the hit on your teammate there.
Oh, that was good, wasn't it?
That was real good.
Yeah, that was funny. Sterling's always playing jokes on me, so he'll get me back, I'm sure, one day, probably with a firecracker.
Probably. Well, let's talk about your race car. Very strong today in third.
Yeah, it's been good. We'd like to be able to lead a lap, just one, just to get the points. But it just seems like we can run second the whole race or third, so pretty happy with the Texaco I have on the Dodge, though. We can't seem to make it better. We've made a lot of adjustments, and we're kind of stuck where we are. So hopefully maybe the racetrack will change a little bit and come to us, but pretty happy so far.
Well, what about your race car?
It's pretty good. We come from 17th to 4th right now, and Mason's driving real good. Run them down here a little bit. It's good on long.
You got to keep an eye on him, don't you?
Keep an eye on him. He gets more ice water.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Well, let's talk about your fenders. You got out of the race car and looked at your fenders.
I made sure it wasn't nothing, close to tire or nothing. Got into somebody a little bit, but it just got a little tire mark on it. No big deal, but I think I ought to call it.
And the people in the truck were very impressed. They keep going on and on about how you didn't touch your fenders.
Yeah, I done learned my lesson on that deal.
All right. Thanks very much, Matt. Sterling Marlin. Currently running 4th. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, Jamie McMurray. 91,000 fans here in Martinsville. Hi, how are you? And DW has
DW, they won't
he was on, in case
yeah.
you missed it, the pre-race show, he was surprised. We had him out there on stage. He was presented an award from this racetrack.
Yep.
His 11 wins here. Let's check in. We're going to go over the points in just a moment here as they stand to the moment. Critical for some of the key drivers here that are involved. Let's check in with Dick Berggren.
Well, Bobby Labonte started 23rd. He's motored his way up to 7th position. And I just watched your crew chief, Fatback McSwain, show up with one of those Martinsville hot dogs. I want to know if it's more dangerous to drive a race car or follow his dietary habits.
Well, I don't know either. I'm not professional enough to answer that question, I guess. I'm not qualified enough. But
you're qualified enough to tell me about your hot rod.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You know, Interstate Battery Chevrolet, we did some changes on it this morning, and, it's come around pretty good today, and the guys did a good pit stop that last time and got us out about 3 or 4 spots ahead of where we were. And, we fight a little bit loose, a little bit tight every now and then, and, just keep working on it, and hopefully we'll get this problem here fixed when we get back racing.
Can you move around and find better spots on the racetrack, or has there been one groove that's worked for you all day?
Well, there's one groove that works for me really good, but when it goes away, when the rubber gets built up on it, the car doesn't quite want to handle that very good. Then you got to search around. So it does make it for, at least it's not just one thing. I haven't run the same line every lap after lap after lap after lap because you gotta change to find your way around because the rubber build up, the tires give up, your car changes a little bit. So it's a little bit more fun than just doing the same thing all the time.
Given all the cars you've passed, you've only got to pass 6 more, and you're in the lead. What do you think? Can you do that?
Well, that's the hardest 6 to pass now that we got there. But I don't know. If the guys do a good job in the pits to make the right adjustments on the car for later on in the race, we'll hopefully have a good day and maybe finish the top 5 or get a win out of this thing.
Bobby Labonte's having a good day. How about Chris Myers? Are you having a good day?
I always do, Dick. I always have. He ordered the Martinsville hot dog, and then Dick ordered a Lucky Dog. He was a little confused. Let's check the points standings to the moment here as they would look. And these are the guys, remember, we not only go top 10. If you're within 400 of the leader, you would make that final 10-race championship for the Nextel Cup. See, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has overtaken Kurt Busch at this point. Jamie McMurray would be in the top 10. Then in the next group, these are the guys obviously that are looking good, Jeff. These guys are still in pretty good shape.
They're all pretty good shape right now, but again, they can't afford to lose any more, Chris. They've got to keep up there and keep digging so they can stay within that 400-point range.
And Dale Jarrett, 343 off to the right. You see how many points they are behind as we look at the next page. And then these guys, starting at Terry Labonte, these guys are out of it if the season were to end today in terms of getting into that 10-race championship.
These are the guys right now have got to turn it around, and they've got to turn it around really starting today or next week at Talladega. They can't afford to keep losing ground if they want to get into this final 10.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr. is leading this race at the moment. It could be the points leader by the end of the day to overtake Kurt Busch. Let's go back up to Mike Joy in the booth to recap why they're fixing the track.
Thanks, Chris. After 7 caution flags today in a very competitive race that have seen 5 different leaders, Michael Waltrip spun. A piece of concrete came up out of the racetrack. Another piece came up and hit the front air dam of Jeff Gordon's car. So you see the work going on now that this race has been red flagged to epoxy seal the surface there, just kind of like a tooth filling at the entrance point of turn number 3 into the corner. We'll show you the cavity, and it's a deep one. Don't think the track has a dentist on call, but you can see that's more than a handful wide and a big loose chunk of concrete there ready to come up next. So we've been under the red flag for a little over 21 minutes as they try to make the repair. There you see the piece that'll bounce off right there, Jeff Gordon's car, and it hit that right front really hard.
Really did. I mean, it's amazing that it didn't do more damage than it did. It's a wonder it didn't go up on the car and tear something up.
The most recent incident we could find in NASCAR history, as you see it again from Dale Jr.'s car coming back and hitting the right front of Gordon's. in the Busch Series in 1992 at Barberville, Florida. A hole dug up in the surface during practice. They put an orange safety cone at that spot, and the drivers completed practice by driving around the cone and raced the next day without incident after the track was patched. 1961 Asheville Weaverville, big hole in turn 3. The race was red flagged and patched. 50 more laps were run, conditions worsened, and they called it a day.
In about 1977-78 at North Wilkesboro, they repaved the racetrack. It started to come up in practice, and there was some debate about whether to call the race or not. But all of us got together and agreed, hey, we'll make it work. And it was like driving down a dirt road. You had 2 wheel tracks that you had to stay in. If you got out of those, you hit the fence.
And that was an asphalt track, and it had just been repaved. What, a week before the race?
Yeah, just before the race. Of course, you got a lot better stuff these days, you know, with the polymers and everything that they can pave these tracks with and get back on them a lot quicker.
Darryl, you and I were talking earlier about how long this concrete has been down in these corners, and in about 2 or 2.5 years ago, they ground it, and you know, you just wonder if that maybe weakened the strength of this concrete.
Yeah, when you're walking around, like I was this earlier today, you see all these grooves. I mean, all that is where they've been grinding on it. I don't know how much they ground off of it, but they supposedly ground all the high spots off of it, and probably have loosened it up some way.
Well, concrete ages just like asphalt does, and again, it's not the weight of these cars, it's the side bite of the tires that tears at the asphalt and the concrete surfaces of these speedways. So we're under the red flag, as we have been now for 24 minutes. Repairs continue, and we hope to be racing again shortly.
That spun. If you can kind of follow a little bit of the track debris, it'll roll by what on the right side?
Just below the back part of the bumper right there. That piece of concrete came up and was bumped also by Ricky Rudd in the 21 car. And the next thing you know, the 24 car goes down into turn 3, and you'll notice all of a sudden a puff of smoke and another piece of concrete flies off the right front. Looking back from Dale Jr.'s bumper, you can see some more, can't you, Chris?
Yes, and it pulls it up. It was obviously loosened, as we've pointed out. We've had some time, but quite a pothole that quickly the track officials and the NASCAR put epoxy over to smooth it out.
Yeah, you can take a look. The picture on the left right there is the hole that was created by the pieces of concrete flying out. This is the repair work that all the track guys went to work with, the new epoxy, and have repaired the track surface. As you see right there, a very close-up view of it. It looks like it's starting to seal, it's starting to cure, but you see the damage here on the front nose of the 24 car. It'll be interesting to see, again, how everything is going to kind of turn out for these boys when they come down pit road and how effectively they can repair this car.
Robbie Loomis, Solberg, the nose, even said part of the back end was bothered. We wish our best, too, for Robbie's mom. As he mentioned earlier that she's in a hospital. She's doing a little bit better, recovering. So hopefully she will recover from her illness.
Yep.
So we're getting ready to roll here with Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading Jeff Gordon, Jamie McMurray, Sterling Marlin, and Rusty Wallace, your top 5. And let's go back upstairs, rejoin Larry McReynolds, Darrell Waltrip, and Mike Joy, and get ready to roll.
Now, when the caution flag came out, Chris, pit road was never opened. So not only Jeff Gordon, but all of these cars are waiting for a chance at pit road for fresh tires and fuel.
But I tell you, that epoxy better be some mighty tough stuff, because these cars weigh 3,400 pounds, and they are turning the steering wheel that's right where you really load the right front, is right where that hole is. I still think they ought to mark it. If I can make one suggestion, I'd say let's mark it so that the guys can see where it is and they can avoid it if they want to.
I'm going to say probably pit road will be closed for one more lap because they're still trying to get a few cars fired. It looks like Greg Biffle in the 16 car, he's going to have to get a wrecker to push him to get started.
That's always a concern you have. Is your car going to crank back up? I'll tell you another concern that you could have in a situation like this. It's a hot day, so this is not likely to happen. But that brake fluid has been so hot that when it sets and cools, it can vaporize. And you get moisture in the lines or in the brake fluid, and that's what causes the brakes to fade.
Also, Darrell, do you still worry about the brake rotors warping when the cars stop, having had that much heat in them, and you're not allowed to turn that tire so that the heat dissipates in different areas?
Oh, yeah. The brakes won't be as good. I mean, they basically have cured. You've gotten them hot, you've gotten the pads hot, and now they've cured even more.
Now, I mentioned pit road was closed, but Jeff Gordon has elected to go ahead and make his pit stop. Remember, the penalty for pitting before pit road is open, tail end of those longest line, makes no difference to him. This will give him maximum amount of time to get the repairs done on that car because he was right up there, the second car in line. Has to maintain pit road speed as he'll come to the attention of Robbie Loomis in that 24 DuPont group.
Now, you think, Larry, I don't, how many laps have we run? You think some of these guys will come in and change 4 tires at this point?
Well, I really don't, Darrell, because we've only run about 10 laps, so we may have a few at the back, but Dick Berggren, how about the 24 pit stop?
Well, the goal for Jeff Gordon right now is to pull the valence out of the right front corner of the car, make sure they have clearance. The crew is working on that right now. They're calling for additional help. A sheet metal scissor is being used. What they really want to do here is make a whole collection of pit stops without losing a single lap. That is the goal. They are being told right now where the lead car is, around turn 3 and 4, around turn 4. So they're trying to make sure that they don't lose that lap. Tire going on right now. Make sure that they stay on the lap. That's the goal. They've got the valence pulled out. Car down. Still working on it a little bit. He's okay. He's okay that time. Now he's going to come back in again several more times while they work on that right front corner and make sure it's okay.
Another huge advantage to that pit box right there. They could work on it to the final second before that pace car got around there.
But now he's at a huge disadvantage. He's a half a lap behind the pace car. He gets in his pit stall. He's got to be there maybe 5 seconds, and he's got to go.
The real butt of the work had to be done right there on that stop.
I mean, that was a good move to come in then. And I tell you, if he got that fender pulled out and there's no problem, nothing rubbing, I wouldn't mess with it anymore.
Right, because you cannot pull up to pit. You can't pull up past those.
Gonna have to hustle with this guy. It's gonna be left sides and gas.
Ward Burton ran the stop sign at the exit of the pits, so he'll be coming back in. We're going to go back to Dick Berggren.
And Gordon just come on the radio and said that the steering wheel is turned to the right a little bit, and that says there is definite suspension damage to the number 24 car.
And that's bad news.
But he had the steering wheel off. When he got out of the car, he pulled the steering wheel off. So maybe he just didn't get the wheel line back up. Put his wheel on, adjust it, and it may be okay.
30 miles an hour seems agonizingly slow when that's all you can do down pit road to get to your pit.
And look, he's not in his pit yet, and here's the pace car in the 3rd turn. He's not in his pit yet. Here he comes. He's not there yet, and the pace car is coming off of turn 4 now.
It'll be about long enough to just change those left side tires. That's about it.
And down he'll have to go. Pace car at the line now. Car's left side's changed, and he's out.
You know, we talked about Greg Biffle having to get a push. That car was not going to crank, and you see him working underneath the hood right here. We're hearing from our guys on pit road that he actually had a hole in one of his fuel lines. They're actually having to change the fuel line. There was no fuel going to the carburetor. And he had a pretty good run going. He was only 1 lap down.
Yeah, his car was running great.
He's now 32nd, 6 laps down. Lap cars pitting: Terry Labonte, Brendan Gaughan, Casey Mears. Let's go back to Dick Berggren.
I think Jeff Gordon was listening to Darrell Waltrip about steering position because he just asked about where they should put the steering position. Should it be on the pink mark or should it be straight? He is going to come back in again. They are going to check the toe this time. That would be the thing that would most likely make that steering wheel not be in the correct position. Unless, Darrell, you're right. He may well have put it back on incorrectly.
Yeah, it's on a spline, and it can very easily be 1 notch off to the right. It'll make you think the steering is off to the right.
And sorry, Racing 101, he had to remove the steering wheel to get out of the car and back in it during the red flag.
It'll drive you crazy when you get it on crooked and you can't fix it before you make a pit stop. Makes the car drive like it's the same car, but it drives terrible.
You see Gordon coming in as the field goes around at pace lap speed.
And that's more that driver thing. It's right. My hands are supposed to be right here. And my steering wheel's over here. I can't be where I want to be.
And what they're doing, they're taking this long bar. They got the left side straight, and now they've checked the right side, which is where the damage would be. Now, these guys would run about 1/8 inch of toe out, the right front towed out over the left front. You don't have time enough to fix it here, but at least you know if it's right or if it's bad. Now, let's show what they would do if they do indeed get time to correct this. Now, this car has a severe toe-in problem, possibly what the 24 car may have. Now, what they'll have to do, and you'd almost have to raise the hood to do this, is you go to the tie rod, regardless of what the problem is. You'll loosen 2 bolts on that sleeve right there. They'll hold that straight edge there, adjust it out till they get it where they want it. Then you have to lock it down. But that's a tough order to fulfill here when you have no more time than you do under caution.
Yeah, on a short track like this, it makes it very difficult to have enough time to do that and do it right. So what they're going to tell him is, hey, it's okay, it's not that bad, you're going to have to live with it.
Jeff Hammond.
Kind of explain a little bit more about what we're talking about here, gang, is the fact that this is what a steering wheel is all about. Here are the splines inside. What the driver does when he puts it on is he can align it to make him happy as far as this location across. If he doesn't like it, he can take and remove it and turn it wherever it makes him happy. But in the event of a wreck, and this gets off, this is an indicator to a lot of drivers whether the toe end is knocked out or not. In this case right here, they're going to evaluate whether he got the wheel back on straight or not, and if it's not right, then they'll have to work on the toe.
Well, he's back in, Jeff, so they may have seen something when they checked it.
They've evaluated by stringing the car to tow it. The next evaluation may be the lap times. Dick?
And this evaluation will be to make sure that everything in the right front corner of that race car is okay. That's all they're going to do right now is look, but it's a very, very careful look. They want to be sure the suspension is all right, the car is safe, the car is okay. There's an A-OK from Car Chief Steve Letarte. He's going to go with the toe the way it is.
Now, if the toe was off, what caused it to, what happened? Did it bend something under there that would make it unsafe? Did it bend the tie rod that Larry was showing us? What did it knock out of line to get the toe off?
But I tell you, a good sign is when your car chief looks at you as the crew chief, give you that thumbs up, then you can give that driver right there confirmation. Everything's good, buddy. We still got 200 laps to go.
See his steering wheel. See how every driver likes, he's got a place he likes to put his hands. And you always like the steering wheel with the spokes just a little bit over to the left because you're going to be turning left. You wanted it dead center or a little to the left to be comfortable.
A lot of times when cars leave pit road at the beginning of a race and you'll see them stop on the racetrack, that's what the driver's doing, is stopping and relocating his steering wheel.
Yeah, they call it indexing your steering wheel. If you look at every driver in these cars that we got cameras in, you'll see they're cocked to the left just ever so slightly.
So at 300 laps, which we've just completed, there are 200 laps to go, following a 1 hour, 17-minute red flag to patch the concrete surface in turn 3. This happened during the 7th caution flag of the day when Michael Waltrip spun. There are 22 lead lap cars led by Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jamie McMurray, and Sterling Marlin.
Now, one thing we need to watch on this restart is brakes. Again, they're cold now. So you charge down in this corner and your brakes are cold, the thing isn't going to stop like it did a little earlier.
The fans have been patient. They're about to get rewarded. 200 laps to go.
Ready, and quickly green.
Murray in a 42 car. He wants to beat Jeff Burton in that 99 car down to turn 1. Jeff Burton is still 3 laps down.
Good clean restart.
Boy, Jamie is all over the Dale Jr.'s car. He really would like to get around him.
And I tell you who wants to get around who? Sterling Marlin in that 40 car, because he is our 3rd place car right now. And Jeff Burton in the 99 was holding him up, and he's seeing those top 2 get away from them. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, he's trying to make the move on the high side off turn 2.
Rusty's car is too tight right now. They've put a little too much wedge in. He can't get off the corner like he could earlier.
And no one is driving like they're trying to avoid that patch in turn 3. So, Darrell, nobody knows how long this race will go now. It's scheduled for 200 more laps.
Okay, Sterling's about to lose his patience with that 99 car. He gets to the inside of him in turn 3. Sterling is the 3rd place car. Looks like he might prevail down the front stretch this time.
And I got to tell you, I believe that brake was a big plus for Sterling. He got cooled off. He got a second wind. I tell you, it makes a huge difference in a driver when he can get freshened up a little bit.
Now, Jeff Gordon restarted 23rd. He is up to 17th, but deep in the pack with the pole-winning car.
And this is where you have to be patiently aggressive, just like you heard Jeff Hammond talking in the start of the race. You know the leaders are up there over a quarter lap in front of you, but look at the traffic that he's trying to work through right now.
Yeah, this is when you've already got some damage. And back in here is where you get the thing all beat up, get the brake ducts closed up, the radiator, the grill closed up. Got to be careful.
And Darrell, just based on how that car was the first 300 laps, unless there's damage to it, to the suspension and hurting it, he can get back up there. He can contend for the win.
As long as they run 200 laps, he can.
Yep.
There's the interval from Gordon all the way around to race leader Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And it's a seesaw battle. His car's really good on the inside. But the inside gets bottlenecked up, and somebody will get up beside you like Michael is right now, and you can't go anywhere.
Rusty on Sterling, and Wallace makes
outside. Clear.
Wallace makes the pass for third place on the inside.
And just remember the other advantage he has. We saw it with Tony Stewart back at the beginning of the race. He has about 10-lap, 12-lap fresher tires than those other guys too.
And that's been huge. Yesterday it was huge. Today I think it is too.
Jamie McMurray has caught Dale Jr. from the Bud Cam. You saw that distance close. It's less than a car length at turn 3. Jimmy Johnson trying to come back up through. He and Elliott Sadler fight for 8th place.
Boy, you just saw Kevin Harvick get up on the curb. Got to stay off that curb, buddy. You'll knock the toe out again.
Jimmy Johnson thought about making it 3 wide into turn 3. He decided to choose the other.
Yeah, well, you get a good, if you get a really strong run off of turn 2 and the other guy's got to feather out of it a little bit, man, you can catch them in a hurry.
Jimmy underneath the lap car of Jeff Burton. If he can clear Burton, then he'll be right on Harvick's bumper for 7th.
Jeff Gordon is not having any trouble coming up through there, Larry.
No, he's not. That car's right around the bottom. He's working on Scott Wimmer right now in the 22 car. That'll be for 15th position, and right in front of them, Ricky Rudd, which is another lead lap car.
And you know, it almost looks like the guys are giving him the line, you know. I mean, I know they're not, but he's so good getting in and on the bottom, it's like they just move up out of his way.
But you know it, and I know it. The further to the front he goes, the harder it gets.
Oh, yeah.
Who was it during the break that said, well, you got 4 cars to pass? Yeah, but they're the hardest 4.
Darrell, you talk about Jeff Gordon. He's coming up through the pack right there, no doubt about that. But he's still losing valuable time to the leader. He's been able to cut through this first group of guys, but the lead from him to the leader right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr., has opened up 2 seconds in the last 6 laps.
Yeah, but Jeff, like Mike was saying about the chase for the championship, if they get a caution here in a few minutes, all that's for naught. So all he's got to do is maintain and kind of keep those guys in sight, wait for another caution. He'll be okay.
I'd say he'd want this thing to go green for a while, trying to pick some of these cars off.
Yeah, and then if he does get behind, then have a caution. But I don't think he'll get behind.
Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick. You heard the rev limiter cut in there. Boy, Harvick's good wrench Chevy.
And Matt Kenseth, I mean, literally pulled over and let Jeff go by.
Just saw Greg Biffle in the 16 car. They just went by him in turn 2. He's back out on the racetrack 23 laps down, but he still looks like he may have problems.
But Darrell, that's the reverse of what you were talking about earlier about racing the cars you can race. If you can't run with Jeff Gordon and turn his lap times, why use up your stuff fighting with him?
Yeah, I mean, that just shows a lot of respect. When they look in the mirror and they see that 24 coming, they know he's fast. Shows a lot of respect that they'll move up out of his way and let him go.
Right now in traffic, he's running 29. He's 21 flat. Right now, our leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., with a clean racetrack, is running in the 28s.
So even in traffic, he's only a 10th off, and that's not a whole lot. Once he clears some of these guys, he'll make that all up.
Boy, Jimmy Johnson has punched the go button since they dropped the green flag for the restart at lap 301. He's now up there fighting with Kevin Harvick. Takes over 7th. Momentarily, at least.
Well, you got to believe if Jeff Gordon is dominating a car here as he has, Jimmy Johnson can't be 4 off of what he's got.
And he showed that in the first part of the race. They got behind on a pit stop.
22 lead lap cars, 183 laps to go here at Martinsville Speedway. And so far, the patch in turn number 3 is holding up well. So we hope to run this one to conclusion. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching the Advance Auto Parts 500. This is NASCAR on Fox. Fox is brought to you by Mach 3 Turbo Champion, the only razor used by the Gillette Young Guns. By Subway, eat fresh. By Quaker State, the power to reduce friction. And by the new Chevrolet, an American revolution. $174 laps left to race here at Martinsville Speedway. Here's where your Koch family of drivers is running at this point in the race, led by Bobby Labonte. Big battle coming for second place. Rusty Wallace just had a look inside Jamie McMurray. Now McMurray's 42, his teammate to the 40 of Marlin. Jamie squeezes Rusty down. Rusty makes his own room in turn number 4. That hole was going to close up, and Rusty wouldn't let it.
And Sterling Marlin, Jamie McMurray's teammate, he wants to be there if Rusty pokes the hole. He can capitalize on it too.
Matt?
Jamie McMurray still trying to lead in his career, his first ever lap on a short track, but Junior is slowly pulling away. The reason the 42 car has started to go to the loose side. Now he's just trying to hang on to second.
Well, that's hard on when that thing gets loose. You just have to slow it down with the brakes. Next thing you're going to hear is he's got a brake problem.
I definitely think those two cars behind him, Rusty Wallace in the 2 and Sterling Marlin in the 40, are quicker. They just can't get by him.
Yeah, Rusty was the quickest car on the racetrack, catching McMurray. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon, who restarted 21st, has climbed to 11th. He needs to get past this lapped car of Jeff Burton, and then he'll have a chance to go after Kurt Busch, and that would put him back in the top 10.
And right now, it's about a half of the racetrack behind our leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And I've been watching the scoring monitor. When Jeff Gordon's in clear traffic, as he is right now, he almost runs about the same lap time as Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's not that he's quicker, he just maintains.
All right, Jamie McMurray holding second in front of this battle between Rusty Wallace and Sterling Marlin for third. For more on McMurray, here's Matt.
Jamie hasn't adjusted his brake bias or anything like that to help his race car. The car has gotten better because his spotter, Lauren Rear, told him where the other cars are running. He says, you're running a little closer to the bottom than they are. Try to move up a little bit. That's exactly what he's done.
But it looks like it's paying off because he's beginning to pull away from Rusty Wallace and Sterling Marlin.
And again, that's the information that a spotter needs to give to the driver. Everybody else is running here or there or somewhere else, and share that information with the driver, and he can adjust his line.
Larry, we're 333 laps in. We were talking yesterday on our FX Happy Hour coverage. This is just about the point in the race when you said the track surface would change.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of teams that came up here and tested, but you can never mirror the situation right now on this racetrack. And mainly, and Darrell can relate to this, the rubber that starts building up on this concrete. It's almost like it builds up in mounds, and the car really changes how it goes across the racetrack.
It feels like, you know, when you drive off the interstate sometime and they got those little channels in the pavement, and they well, that's what it feels like when you come off these corners.
I think it got that way yesterday, even in 250 laps in the truck race.
It did. But one plus today, Larry, is the sun is going down behind us. The grandstand's starting to shade the front straightaway here. It can't be as hot as it was.
Let's talk about two fellas outside the front four who are coming into play here. Mark Martin and Bobby Labonte. Mark is 4.2 seconds off the lead, but his last lap times and this lap right on top of or quicker than race leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Bobby Labonte running virtually the same times as Mark Martin. In fact, this lap Labonte was quicker than Jr.
48's the car on the move, Mike. I mean, he is coming to the front. He just went around Bobby. You were talking about him, and while you were talking about him, he passed off.
And he's done what Jamie McMurray has done. They've moved up to that second groove, and it's really been working for him.
I think what they're doing now is running above all those little rumble strips that we're talking about.
Up in turns 3 and 4, some of the drivers still running right to the bottom of the racetrack, but these leaders staying about half a groove to a full groove up from the bottom. Now Harvick is back there now behind Labonte, back in 8th place. There's the windshield post view of Harvick.
And when you go from the bottom of this racetrack to hugging the curve, when you go up in that outer groove, you can't believe how it changes this racetrack. When you're used to coming off with that left wheel right against that curve, now all of a sudden you come off the turn and the first thing you see is that outside retaining wall, and it gives it a whole different feel when you're driving.
Next car back is Elliott Sadler in 9th place.
Yeah, I mean, his cars, it's kind of been hit and miss during the day. There was a point in time when he had faded just a little bit. It's exactly where he started, back in 9th position. As you see by the graphic, starting to see him make a little bit of a move right now. I've been watching the lap times, and he's pretty much right there with the quicker cars.
Our point leader, Kurt Busch, is having an uncharacteristic quiet day. There he is in 10th. Jeff Gordon has caught him, but Busch is hanging on to a top 10 spot right now.
Yeah, it's not going to be quiet for long because that 24 car is lurking, and this is a battle to get into the top 10 for Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Busch looks real loose into the turn. Looks pretty good when he accelerates off the turn, but looks real loose getting in. It's a pretty good drive off right there, but not near as good as Jeff Gordon.
Gordon has the measure of Kurt Busch into turn 1. Busch beats him back to the throttle, though, off turn 2.
See that you can do that. You get back in a little quicker on that outside line. Got a little momentum down the straightaway like we see on super speedways. Works the same way here.
Gordon and race leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. are exactly half a lap apart on the racetrack. Gordon restarted 21st. He's now fighting. Well, he was fighting for 10th. He's now the 10th place car.
That's a classic Martinsville pass right there. You go in under them, and hopefully they'll slide up as you come up under them.
There you see Matt Kenseth. Man came in here second in points. He's been quietly flirting with the top 10. After a pit stop earlier in the race, he was in the top 10. He's back there in 13th position right now. And there comes Ricky Rudd. He's been right there in the top 15 all day long from the very start of the race. And right now,
whoa,
Ricky.
Robbie Gordon. You saw him from Rudd's roof cam almost lose it. But Robbie gathered it back in as we watch from the singular cam on his front bumper. And though he's laps down, he's going to continue.
We've run 344 laps. I think Robbie's done that about 300 of them.
I think you're right. Right behind him, Scott Wimmer battles with Dale Jarrett for 15th position. Jarrett made several pit stops at the end of that caution flag and apparently got the car pretty right. He restarted back there with Jeff Gordon, and he has gained 5 spots since they waved the green flag for the restart.
But talk about Scott Wimmer. Remember, we talked earlier, this is his very first Nextel Cup start here. And there you see Tony Stewart in the 20 car. He's kind of had an up and down day. At one point, he looked like he may have the car to beat. At one point, he was about to go a lap down. Right now, he's back there in 17th position. But he's 3/4 of a lap down to our leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Stewart started 30th after over-driving turn 1 on his first lap of qualifying. They made the car better, and Tony Stewart led today did not lead this race, but ran up in the front 5 for a while.
And Michael Waltrip in the 15 car started back in 37th position, almost in provisional land, and he got a lap down early, but he got the free pass, and I think Slugger Labby and that group have made that car better, and he even spun out one time, and he's still on the lead lap here in 19th.
Got a pretty good looking old hot rod today. For him at Martinsville, he's doing a great job.
We didn't really get to talk about it that much, but Ricky Craven, previous winner here in the 32 car, he went a lap down, but on the red flag caution, he got the free pass, so he's back on the lead lap. And Kyle Petty in the 45 car, he has stayed on the lead lap all day long, back in 21st position.
Yeah, the Pettys have, I think, 18 or 19 wins here between Richard and his father, Lee Petty. Here's Joe Nemechek struggling to stay on the lead lap.
I was going to say, you better talk about him quickly being on the lead lap, because he's fixing to go a lap down to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8 car, but it's not going to go easy.
He was the free pass car 2 cautions ago as Dale Jr. works his way underneath the Army Chevrolet.
Well, out there. Trying to get you some help.
That was Jamie McMurray. His in-car radio.
I was talking about Tony Stewart, who had not led today. He had worked his way up to 4th and was coming toward the lead when another caution came out, and everybody got to pit and improve their car. Jamie McMurray trying to run down Dale Earnhardt Jr. He is 1 second back. We listened in on his team communications.
Well, we'll work hard on the stop. We'll drop some air pressure out of the rears or something.
That was Donnie Wingo, and evidently, what you heard Matt Yoakum talk about, I think it was Matt that said Jamie McMurray had been loose. What Donnie Wingo, his crew chief, is saying, we're going to drop some air pressure out of the 2 rear tires. That'll help those rear tires bite on acceleration. But with 150 laps to go, these guys know they may only get 1, maybe 2 more chances to get these cars right.
You know, Joe Nemechek, now he gives up the ghost, but he was really giving Dale Jr. fits trying to stay on the lead lap. Gave a good fight of it, but now Jr. works his way by. That'll allow the 2nd place car, McMurray, to close in. Here's Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, once Sterling Marlin got past Rusty Wallace for 3rd, Sterling's crew chief, Lee McCall, said, "Attaboy, go get that 42. You're faster than him." But just seconds ago, Sterling radioed in and had one word to say: loose.
So it almost sounds like a lot of these cars, Darrell, is the track starting to cool down and the sun's going down, that they're not going to a push, not turning situation. They're starting to actually get loose, especially on acceleration.
Yeah, that's not uncommon for here. Later in the afternoon, it gets the track actually just loses grip, overall grip.
And there you see the concrete, of course, is the one that we're looking at. That's where the corners are. There you see it's dropped over 10 degrees, and that can make a huge difference in the way these cars handle.
145 laps to go. One more pit stop at least coming. Can Jeff Gordon get back to the front? Can Dale Jr. hold on to win? Can Jamie McMurray overtake him? Can you? Stay tuned. Mach 3 Turbo Champion invites you to enter the Gillette Young Guns Challenge. Each week a lucky fan will win $5 grand. Go to GilletteYoungGuns.com for details. One of those young guns, Jimmy Johnson, is the fella everybody's watching as he climbs his way up through the field. Johnson restarted 10th. He is currently 4th and gunning for 3rd.
Yeah, he's alongside of Jamie McMurray in the 42 car and making the pass right now as we speak.
I believe you said it earlier a few laps ago, Darrell, that 48 car, he gets such a good bite off the corner. He's able to hold that throttle down and make a lunge off the corner.
He's really floating it in, as we like to say, and able to get the car turned and just got a great look coming off.
Yeah, because actually Jamie McMurray's teammate Sterling Marlin, he had passed him for 2nd just a few laps ago. So Jamie in the 42 car is now back in 4th position.
We saw Jamie, he's getting real loose is what's wrong with his car. We saw him come off turn 4 here just sideways before Sterling Marlin got around him.
And what's actually pretty good news for Sterling Marlin and Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is really having to wrestle with some cars trying to stay on the lead lap. He wrestled with Michael Waltrip just a few laps ago, and now Ward Burton and Kyle Petty's just in front of him.
Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon, who got a great restart, came from 21st to 11th in a hurry, has been unable to advance any further. Gordon right now sits at 10th place, Dick.
Yeah, but Darrell was talking a while back about how things go on in this race and how the tires wear down, the cars get loose. That's what Jeff Gordon says is going on with his. He just got on the radio and said, real loose.
Well, again, that's just another car added to our list of cars that's getting loose as this racetrack cools down.
I'm not exactly sure what the right word is, but slimy comes to mind. And that's what the track gets to feeling like as it cools. It got a lot of rubber on the racetrack. And as that rubber cools down, it gets real slimy feeling, and the car just doesn't want to hook up.
But, you know, even with that, guys, it wasn't that long ago, that many laps ago, Jeff Gordon was a half a lap down, about 11 seconds behind. Now he's 8 seconds behind our leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And Jr. is not having much trouble. He's going to put Kyle Petty a lap down here. Kyle's hung on the lead lap all day long in his Georgia Pacific Dodge. But Jr.'s lap times right now are within a 10th of the best on the track as he leads Sterling Marlin by 1.5 seconds.
Gordon just got by Harvick there in the 29 car to advance another spot.
Moves him up to 9th position. Caution is out.
Morgan Shepherd and Casey Kane up in turn 4. And I think almost everybody but those two wanted to see this caution.
And I think possibly Michael Waltrip in the 15 car may be the free pass car.
If it is, that's the 2nd time today that he's been a benefactor of that.
Caution's really good news for Tony Stewart, who was less than 2 seconds from being caught by Dale Jr. and going a lap down.
Yeah, they're going to have to bring the 20 car in there and wave a magic wand over it because it's not reacting too well right now.
Michael Waltrip will get the free pass. Casey Kane will pit, although pit road is closed. So he'll restart tail end of the longest line. First time we've had a caution flag in 80-some laps.
I got to believe that Casey Kane must have had a tire go down because he's on pit road right now.
But I tell you, we just saw Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. He just had past Kevin Harvick for 9th position. This is where that pit spot could be huge over there if he can make some positions up on pit road. We know how hard it is to do on the racetrack.
Oh, yeah, he's back in the hunt now.
Right front trouble for Casey Kane as he'll make his pit stop. And the green flag is up in the backstretch, which means that pit road is open for the lead lap cars this time by.
And Morgan Shepherd got involved in that. I didn't see the whole thing unfold, but Morgan's been doing a good job of staying out of people's way today, and he's running 31st.
So it'll be pit stops. We'll go first to Steve Burns.
Sterling Marlin said he's loose in and loose off, Mike Joy, so they're going to drop that track bar 1 round and take ½ a pound out of the right rear tire to help tighten Sterling Marlin up. Right side tires going on. Make the track bar adjustment, and let's go to Matt.
Jimmy Johnson had climbed up to 3rd before that caution. They make a wedge adjustment on his race car and an air pressure adjustment, 2 cans of fuel. They need to work in the center of the corner a little more, Dick.
In each of the last 2 pit stops, Earnhardt Jr.'s crew has picked him up 4 positions. This time, all they have to do is to not lose a single position at all. Jeff Gordon pits right in front of him. Jr. gets the job done. He's first out. Gordon still working on his car. The crew now sends him off on the pit road.
This caution also a break for Kyle Petty. At the moment of caution, he had gotten back past Dale Earnhardt Jr., and so Kyle remains on the lead lap, according to the scoring we have.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff Gordon gained any positions. In fact, it was awfully close to him and Kevin Harvick, who might have possibly lost a position. But you got to give a tip of the hat to that Budweiser crew. We talked about it earlier. Now, not only are they having great pit stops, he's having to drive around the 24 car that's sitting in his pit box, which cost him more time, but he still got the lead.
125 laps to go in the Advanced Auto Parts 500. This is NASCAR on Fox. Parts 500 on Fox is brought to you by Sunoco, the new official fuel of NASCAR. Good enough for NASCAR, good enough for your car. You can't buy it. Well, at least not here. It's only for the Nextel Cup cars. It's around $6 a gallon at short tracks nationwide. 112 octane. A lot of power.
Holy smoly.
Not great gas mileage.
$6 a gallon?
Well, retail, yeah.
We get 4.5 miles to the gallon.
You do the math.
I don't have it in my calculator.
How about if we do the math on our pit summary here? The real winner on pit road was Bobby Labonte in that 18 car. Those guys came in 7th, went out 4th. Now the real loser, though, was Sterling Marlin in the 40 group, came in 2nd. He went out 6th.
And let's show you why. A little squeeze play here.
On a very tight pit road. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, his timing was perfect right there. Those guys go from 3rd to 2nd.
So when they wave the green, there will be 20 cars on the lead lap with 120 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Rusty Wallace, Bobby Labonte, Jamie McMurray, the top 5. As you get this great aerial view of Martinsville Speedway from our Quaker State aerial coverage, you see just how tight those corners are and how long in relation those straightaways are. Hey, train's coming by. We're getting ready for the restart. I get excited about that. I think that's pretty cool. On the backstretch, Cold of the Sea. There it is in the upper right.
It's going to be a while if he keeps going at that speed. They'll need to be winter time he gets there that load of coal.
They're slowing down so they can see the restart too, Darrell.
Oh, maybe so.
And here we go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. to bring him down for the green flag with 120 laps to go.
19 cars still on the lead lap.
Green flag.
Jimmy Johnson having a tough time with Ricky Craven in the 32 car, who's a lap down, and his teammate Brian Vickers in the 25, a lap down as well. Jimmy's car has been working good on the high side as we've been documenting, but he still can't find his way around Ricky Craven.
Mark Martin in trouble off turn 4, and that jams everybody up behind him. Jeff Gordon got through. Harvick and Ward Burton squeezed through, and Mark Martin doesn't look like he's still back up to speed yet.
No, he's not. He's got something wrong.
Looks like he's got something bad wrong with Steve.
Larry Mack, he just said that he has no fuel pressure whatsoever in that 6 car.
No fuel pressure.
What a shame, because he's run so well today.
I mean, he's been in the top 5 all day long. And you know, the irony of that is, remember, that many laps ago, Greg Biffle, his teammate, had the fuel line problem. But he will have to go to the garage here, at least to pit road.
Back up front, Jimmy Johnson clears Ricky Craven. Now Rusty does too. Watch the 6 car in this replay.
Yeah, he's coming off of turn 2 over there, and all of a sudden she just quits going right about here, and it really backs everybody up.
We're lucky there wasn't more contact when that happened.
Jeff Gordon in the 24 is right behind him. Now Mark does come to pit road now at 30 miles per hour as the leaders continue to go by.
Now, a lot of times when you ride around under a caution, you can get some vapor lock. Fuel will lay in the fuel log, and all that heat off the engine and the brakes will cause you to have vapor lock.
They are going under the hood to see what's going on with that 6 car.
And it usually happens right after the restart, because that's when you asked it to produce the most fuel.
Well, that dust-up moved Jeff Gordon up to 8th as his teammate and protege Jimmy Johnson draws a bead on Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the lead.
Actually, he just passed Elliott Sadler in the 38 for 7th. So Jeff Gordon, he's getting in striking distance.
Oh, yeah. Once you can see him and you got a car that good, you just sit back and take a deep breath. Say, oh, I'm going to be there in a minute.
mean, it's taken him less than 100 laps to recover from that situation a while ago. Not that he's completely recovered, but he's come a long way in a short time.
No, but as you said, I mean, you know, when you get up to this level right here, it gets a little harder to climb.
But Darrell, is it the important thing that now he's on the same straightaway as the leader, and he's, you know, as we say, within striking distance?
Oh yeah, no, he just needs to work his way around some of these cars. They're going to back up to him eventually. That's what he's thinking.
Steve, how about Mark Martin's hills?
Bad news for Mark, Mike Joy. He just heard him say, or heard Pat Trice, the crew chief, say it's the line that goes back to the fuel tank. The hood's up, and they're going to try and replace the fuel lines.
So we don't know if it's the same fuel line, but it sounds like a similar problem maybe that his teammate Greg Biffle had earlier.
Well, I tell you what, I haven't bragged on Dale Jr.'s car a whole lot. Early in the race, it was giving up a lot on the short run, or on the long run. But that thing must be pretty steamy, Larry. He's sitting there leading the race. He's been able to hold everybody off and come up there behind him.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson, he's just maintaining with him. He's not really getting to him.
Dale Jr.'s turned it up just a little bit. He's running right around a flat, 21 seconds flat. And Johnson has been able to get no closer. Now, 110 laps to go. You're not going to make another pit stop. Darrell, would you want to just ride a while and let things kind of let some of those laps tick off?
Well, the way Jimmy Johnson came up through the field there a little bit ago from back in 7th, 8th place, I think his car must be really, really good as it goes on into the run. So he's probably thinking Junior will back up to him.
I tell you, we better not forget this 18 car, the interstate car, Bobby Labonte, that great pit stop by Michael Fatback McSwain in that group. He's sitting there in 4th position. Now he's wrestling with some lap down cars right now as he tries to get by Brian Vickers in the 25. Joe Nemechek will be in front of him in the 01, but Steve Burns, that car just seems like it just keeps getting better and better as this race unfolds.
Yeah, Larry Mack, listen to their adjustments on lap 373. They took a spring rubber out of the left rear spring, and they also made a track bar adjustment. They've been fighting a loose car all day long, but as you said, they're gaining on it.
Ricky Rudd in trouble.
Well, you know, Mike, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. This place tests every bit of your equipment.
2 rounds down in the right rear.
He's got a right front tire down, Larry.
This green flag stop will cost him at least 2 laps.
And he had been on the lead lap, running in the top 15 all day long. We just had talked about him not too many laps ago.
So now we're down to 17 lead lap cars with just over 100 laps to go.
Yeah, when you have to make a green flag stop here as Ricky Rudd's down and away, you're going to go almost 2 laps down. Here comes your leader again, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that Budweiser car. Jimmy Johnson in the Lowe's car right behind him.
104 laps to go. The distance between them just, well, 0.4 of a second. About 2 car lengths. Rusty Wallace in 3rd, Bobby Labonte, Jamie McMurray, Marlin, Gordon, Sadler, Harvick, and Busch, the top 10. You know, earlier we talked about Morgan Shepherd, who is 62 years old. He said he was going to run all day and get what he can get. He's still holding at about 31st position.
Yeah, and I think that just proves that, you know, when the guys have something they can race with, they want to stay out there and race. Morgan, he loves the short tracks. He's got a new, I don't know if that's a new car or not. It's a Dodge, and it looks like it's running pretty darn good.
I mean, it's a car he bought from Ganassi Racing. It's the car he has showed up all year long. We didn't see him during that red flag, but you saw all these younger guys with the ice bags on. I'll guarantee you that 62-year-old guy, he just sat on the wall and waited for him to tell him to get back in his race car.
And he's done a good job because he has not raced a soul. I mean, he's gotten out of guys' ways when they come out of the way when they come up on him. He's done a really good job today here at this little tight racetrack.
And that's the definition of independent, as we used to apply it in the 70s and 80s. Fellows who didn't have a big sponsor, but would come and race for what they could race, but not race the people they couldn't beat, as you say, Darrell, and give a good account of themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, it was not unusual 70s and even in the 80s for the winner of the race to have a lap on the field, and for guys 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th be 5, 6 laps down at the end of the day.
Well, it's a 1-car, 1-engine operation. He's sitting there in 31st. 2 of the Richard Childress cars, Johnny Sauter in the 30 cars in 30th, just in front of him. Robbie Gordon in the 31's just behind him. That's like Samson going up against Goliath right there.
And you know he can't push it as hard as he'd probably like to. He's had that same engine in there forever.
It's quite a shot here. We call it our hood pin shot, riding with Johnny Sauter in the 30 car.
Meanwhile, Hermie Sadler, who we last saw during the red flag with a burned shin, climbed back aboard, made it for the restart, and he is 28th, though 4 laps back in the fans' car.
And of course, we talked about people like Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. They could not work on their car during the red flag. Jeremy Mayfield, those guys had to stop work on his car. But he is back out on racetrack. But you can work on the driver, because they did have to work on burns on Hermie Sadler. And there's Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. He's up there battling Sterling Marlin. This is for the 6th position.
Hermie's going to be burned and sore. The power steering has gone out on his car.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, that's going to be a tough day at the office for the Emporia, Virginia driver. Jeff Gordon on Sterling Marlin. This is 6th place. Remember, Gordon restarted 21st after the red flag and the damage repair.
He stuck to that bottom pretty much all day long, and right off of 4 here's where he's really, really good. Got some good grip down there. Sterling's strong down the straightaway, but Jeff's a little bit, 24 car's a little bit faster through the turn.
This illustrates your point, Darrell. The higher you climb, the harder it gets.
You got it, because they're not going to give up now. They're not going to roll over for you.
And just an update on Ricky Rudd, who's back out there after having that flat tire. He's 2 laps down back in 26. The valve stem was ripped off. We talked earlier, these guys do not have an inner liner. When you lose the air in the tire, you're on the rim.
Jeff Gordon got past Sterling Marlin, and Marlin, trying to beat Gordon back to the gas, got real loose in 2, but hangs on. So that is 6th place changing hands. You see Gordon's serial score since the restart. Now right behind them, Kurt Busch has passed Kevin Harvick. Let's check with Steve.
Mike, just want to follow up on that fuel line situation with Roush Racing. Mark Martin did in fact have the same exact problem as his teammate Greg Biffle. We've been told that they buy that fuel line in a large quantity and just cut lengths as they need it, and they feel like they've got a bad batch.
That's normally a sign. When you have more than one problem from the same batch, it would be what we would call a bad batch.
Multi-car teams, multi-car problems. Whoa, Junior got up on the curb off of 4 that time. That's going to hurt him a little bit.
And Mike, you talked about it on that pit stop back about lap 372, 373. Jimmy Johnson in the 48. We've seen his car so good on the high side. Tries to get a run on Dale Earnhardt Jr. down the backstretch. Let's see if it'll stick for him down here in 3 and 4.
Sure, because look just in front of them. They're coming in on a wad of traffic. That was 2 and 3 wide a moment ago, and it may give Johnson an opportunity in the traffic to take the lead.
It's better. Up high is better off of turn 2 than it is off turn 4. Get a good bite up high off of turn 2.
And he got a well of a bite. He just drives past Dale Earnhardt Jr. He'll take the lead here with 90 laps to go. But Mike, you talked about these guys not making another stop. They made a stop with 125 laps to go. If we stay green, they indeed can make it on fuel. But you better believe we get a caution. And that road will be busy.
That's big picture racing with the 8 car. You notice he didn't put up a real big fight. He just saw Jimmy was faster than he was, kind of eased down, let him go by on the outside. Now he'll follow him.
How about Jimmy Johnson, Matt?
Jimmy can look at his racing trophy case and look at his Darlington trophies. A very special day. He would love to add a grandfather clock from Martinsville. Back at Darlington, he changed up his morning routine. Instead of listening to Kid Rock or Metallica in the front of the hauler blasting it so it's vibrating the doors, he went to a little more surfer mellow rock of Jack Johnson. He hasn't done it since until this morning, trying to go back and get that mojo, so to speak, that he had at Darlington. He would love to get a win here. Darrell, you won here 11 times. You know how special it is to win at a driver's racetrack like Martinsville.
It's just, there's no neater trophy that I know. Oh, 22 car around off turn 4.
Scott Wimmer.
Darrell, he locked up the brakes down in turn 1 and 2 at the other end of the speedway, so he was having some sort of problem before he spun up here at turn 4.
Locked up on entry, the thing's dead.
To bring out the 9th caution.
You just heard him say locked up on entry. Because he was all by himself. I just looked up and saw him going around.
Get the tires down.
And I tell you, Brian Vickers, it looks like Jimmy Johnson's teammate will be the free pass. I just believe maybe people like Jeff Gordon, those guys who will watch Scott Wimmer here, see the brakes locking up on him. That was through the last set of corners off turn 2, and I watch him down here in 3 and 4.
Just got loose.
Way back past the center of the corner.
Yeah, he'd have been off the brakes by then. Got up out of the groove a little bit, looked like.
Now, with 85 laps to go, this could be a critical pit stop right here. Who beats he off pit road? Jeff Hammond. And this is where that 24 car, they need to have their I's dotted and T's crossed on this stop. He's going to come in 6th.
So many times this year we've seen the race being won off of pit road. And right now is when these crews have got to shine, can't make any mistakes, get the job done, get your man out front. Save them a lot of time as far as the racetrack is concerned right now. 8 cars got a chance to beat the 48 off pit road. They know it. They want to get the job done.
Pit road's open, and it looked for a second like Jimmy Johnson wasn't coming. He's not. He's staying out on the racetrack. Everybody else is coming in.
Aha.
Oh, boy.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, because we went back racing at lap 380, so that's 30 laps on these tires. We already saw what that did to some guys earlier. Steve Burns.
Larry Mack, Rusty Wallace just said, I can't believe that 48 stayed out on the racetrack. He says, 4 tires, that's all I need. Let's go, boys. They'll put a little gas in that number 2 car as well for Rusty Wallace. Left side tires going on right now. This could be the last stop. Dick.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. said that he was just saving the car. That's how the number 48 got by him. He said the car is really good. He just liked them to tighten it up a little bit, going into the corners. This is the most important, the most critical stop of the day. There can be no mistakes, and Earnhardt is gone. Jeff Gordon's crew also working on his car. He had gone from 23rd to 4th.
But once again, he lost a lot of ground on pit road. Now, Ryan Newman's actually going to win the battle off pit road. In the 12 car, like earlier in the race, he changed just 2 right side tires.
What a traffic jam at the end of pit road.
Listen, that's a lonely feeling out there where the 48 car is right now. It looks like they were thinking about it, and at the last second, Chad must have said, stay out.
Now, it wasn't a question of missing the flag, as happened to Dale Jr. here last year. The green flag for pit road had been waving for some time. Jimmy had stayed up high, then he started to dive down and cut back up on the race car, on the racetrack. What happened down there?
Well, Mike, let's talk to Chad Canals. There's a lot of debate, Chad, about whether to stay out or pit.
Yep, there was. Wrong decision, huh? And, you know, I mean, what do you do? I mean, we made a mistake. What do you do?
He's been saving those rear tires, he told you on the radio, by trying to move his line up. Do you feel like that will be enough?
We don't have a prayer. We're in pretty big trouble right now. You know, the Lowe's Chevrolet is just running absolutely phenomenal. You know, we've had some ups and downs in the pits, and we're trying to get all that stuff squared away, and looks like the rear chain broke. And, you know, I mean, you don't know in a place like this. You know, I think last year, the guy that won the race, his last pit stop was on lap 375. Before that, the average is like 425, you know, and if you play averages, we probably should have pitted, but we didn't. So now we made our bed. We'll sleep in it, try to get a top 5. Hopefully we'll get a caution again here in the next little bit. You know, if there's a caution, another 20 laps, we might get some guys to pit. We can come in and get some tires on it and try to get a good solid top 5. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, guys, we've already seen what 10 laps fresher tires would do early in the race with Tony Stewart, with Jeff Gordon. Just to explain, that rear chain that Chad Canals is talking about has nothing to do with performance on the racetrack, but that answers the question why their pit stop took so long. It's a chain to the rear end that helps pick the rear end up when you jack the car up, and that chain was broke. That's the reason the jack man had to pump it so many times to get it off the ground.
The only saving grace I see here is how good that car has been on the long run. And the car right behind him only took 2 tires. If he could get going here and run a few laps, catch a couple of cautions, it might not be over.
Went to church this morning.
Listen to the whatever kind of music it was. I don't know what that has to do with it, but it must have something to do with it.
Well, I'm with Tony Eury Sr., crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Well, it's getting right on down to it, my friend. What do we do from here?
Well, looks like we've had about a 75 to 100 lap car today. And the car wants to get loose, loses all his forward bite. So it looks like that caution come out at a perfect time for us. And Jimmy not stopping might have helped us a little bit too, because he was pretty stout, and hopefully that was a mistake on their part, and we can get this Budweiser Chevrolet back up front and should be able to stay there for that 500 mark.
How aggressive is he going to drive these last few laps?
Well, you know, we got to save our tires. That's what happened at first run. We just spun the tires right off of this soft tire Goodyear brought. You know, it's got a lot of grip, but these motors have got a lot of horsepower too. So as you can see, they already dug the racetrack up with them, so it must be gripping pretty good. But you know, hopefully we can keep the tires on it for this last 75 laps here and get a win here at Martinsville. We've been flirting with it for a long time, just haven't been able to get it, so maybe we can get it today.
And you know what? This grandstand is absolutely packed, Mike. Not one soul has left here. They're all going to wait to see, can Junior win at Martinsville?
No, packed house, 91,000. More seats next year. This race has been sold out for a week and a half, and you've seen why. We listened in on Jimmy Johnson and his team before they made that decision.
Hey, buddy, what are we going to do here? We've got 85 laps to go right now. Do you want to stay up there?
So what happens behind us, you know? What do you think?
Well, everybody 15th back won't pit if the top 10 pit. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I kind of feel like staying out, you know?
I bet he kind of don't like now, though.
No, but the worst thing is for a driver is when the crew chief asks him what he wants to do. Because it's not the driver's job. It's the crew chief's job to tell him to pit.
Getting set for the restart. Another look at the patch in turn 3. It is holding up well as Jimmy Johnson brings Ryan Newman, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rusty Wallace, Bobby Labonte, Jamie McMurray, and Matt Kenseth back to the green flag.
And we have all different scenarios there. Leading the race, the 48 car, no tires, the 12 car in second, 2 tires. But from that 8 car back, Dale Earnhardt Jr., everybody back there for the most part has 4 fresh tires, as we have about 78 laps to go.
And how about, I was just looking to see where the 17 is, because they had a whale of a pit stop.
7th.
He's up to 7th place, and they did a great job in the pits today, Steve. Again.
Hey, DW, they ripped off an incredible pit stop. They came in 12th, went out 7th, took 4 tires. Their stop was at 12.41 seconds.
And that's how they got into the top 10 earlier in the race, was right there on pit road.
What happened to Dale Jr. over here, guys?
He's got Rusty alongside him now.
He came off a turn 2 and just he got it plumb sideways off the corner over there.
He's not hearing his spotter. He's here inside, doesn't know if it's inside or outside.
There, outside. Inside. Ball right there, clear.
There's a little bit of latency in these radios from the time you hit the key until at the other end they hear you, and he's missing the in or the out on some of those transmissions.
Well, you remember at Bristol when Kurt Busch said, I want to stay out? Finney wanted him to pit. Kurt said, I'll stay out. He won the race. Not looking too bad right now, Larry.
And right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he has his hands full not only with Ricky Craven in the 32, a lap down, but Bob Labonte in 18. He's going to take the position away down the front.
I don't know what's wrong with Junior's car, but it's not performing like it was earlier.
It's like he got bottlenecked behind Ricky Craven. Now Craven scoots away in turn 2, but Junior was better into the corner, but didn't get off the corner.
It looks kind of crazy loose right now, like the air pressures are really, really low.
Rusty. Whoa, spin, Harvick, turn 4, caution. No caution, excuse me. They're going to see if he can get going.
Still brace.
Go.
He spins it around. We have caution.
They got a caution.
Caution is out. Joe Nemechek in the 01, he was actually already back on the lead lap because he was in front of our leader, Jimmy Johnson, in the 48, and I believe Ricky Craven in the 32 will get the free pass.
As that was going on, Rusty Wallace had jumped underneath Ryan Newman and was roughing up his teammate in that battle for a second spot.
I think he'll probably go back behind him because that pass was made possibly after the caution. I was watching the 17 and the 29 racing each other pretty hard. And I think the 17 was racing him harder than he was thinking he was going to.
I know we only have 71 laps to go, but as we watch this another angle headed down the backstretch. And look at Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. All this is going on right in front of him. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack.
Root and scoot. And Jeff Gordon is now 9th. As you watch from Kevin Harvick. Ooh, I hate that sound.
You ought to be in there.
You know, Darrell, if I'm Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car, I think I like cautions right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's fewer green laps than I have to run.
I'm not coming in now, I can tell you that.
You have made your bed, you must lay in it.
You got it.
Jimmy Johnson, our leader, with 70 to go. You think you can race the pros? Well, you can online. Our video game is now only at foxsports.com. Keyword games. Yeah, you race the pros. We'll be right back.
Welcoming you back to Martinsville, Virginia, with 66 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson, your leader in today's aerial coverage, provided by Quaker Steak. Well, it felt like a day-night doubleheader or a spring doubleheader here in Martinsville. It went about 290 laps. We're just going to pick it up from what caused an hour and 17-minute delay, and that's Jeff Gordon, who's trying to win his 3rd straight here in Martinsville, currently running 2nd. And after some concrete was pulled up, damaged his car. You see the problem. They had to get epoxy. They had to try and repair his car. He met with the president of NASCAR, Mike Helton, made his appeal, but no break once they got back to racing. In the restart, he was 21st after, again, an hour and 17-minute delay. Dale Earnhardt Jr. at that point still leading, but after passing Stewart and then Busch and Harvick, making it all the way up to 8th, 9th spot for Jeff Gordon, who is the car owner of the current leader, Jimmy Johnson, with Ryan Newman currently running 2nd. As we're back to live action under the caution, Jeff Hammond, still the debate with about 83 laps to go that Jimmy Johnson decided to stay out.
I wouldn't have done it that way, boys. I'm telling you, they'd been watching the truck race yesterday. I think they had a pretty good indicator a couple times during the course of today's race, just like Ryan Newman taking 2 tires again. Early on, he kept him up front, close to the track position. But right now, I really believe Rusty Wallace is in the catbird seat, and he'll be coming to the front.
Chad Canales' crew chief did say, admitted to us, hey, it was a mistake, but something like that is an error in judgment as the driver who ultimately makes the call.
Well, I mean, there's a man right there that's in charge, and I think he pretty much fessed up the fact that, hey, we made a mistake. We've got to live by it. So right now he's trying to pump up his driver and do the best they can, because enough caution flags, he may get by with it. I just don't think it's going to work that way. I really think that Rusty Wallace is going to be after him pretty aggressive.
And what a story that we may have developing here. We've waited a long time today, and if those of you are just joining us, you know why the race has continued into this time frame. Rusty's gone 105 races without a win. Of course, he's won 6 times here in Martinsville, but that must seem like a lifetime ago to him.
I'm sure it does right now as Rusty's out there. I think he made the comment earlier to his crew, get me 4 tires and get me ready to go, guys. I think mentally he's prepared to get the job done. But let's take just a second and tell the folks at home they need to give the track crew and NASCAR an attaboy for coming in there and repairing that racetrack. Even though they had a problem with it, it's stuck in there. And if Rusty can get to victory lane, it'll be one of those memorable days.
Absolutely. And Ryan Newman, his Penske teammate, running 2nd, with Rusty currently 3rd, and Jimmy Johnson leading with just about 63 laps to go as we are under caution. And you talked earlier in the broadcast about how he obviously had success here using his brakes, and you think if he gets out in front, really, then he's in control.
I'd hate to be the guy to try to take this one away from him today, because if he can get around Ryan Newman and get after Jimmy Johnson, I believe once he gets away, kiss it goodbye. It's going to be gone.
Well, don't go anywhere yet. The Advanced Auto Parts 500 set for what, well, certainly a finish worth waiting for. Let's rejoin Larry, Darrell, and Mike.
Ricky Craven has just gotten the free pass to come around and pick up a lap on this caution. But, Darrell, I've got to wonder, are frequent cautions Jimmy Johnson's friend?
Well, they definitely are. And yesterday's truck race, Rick Crawford won the race by staying out. And he went 70 or 80 laps on his last set of tires, which is what Jimmy's got to do. But if I got to put my money on somebody, I'm going to put mine on 18, because he looks really good to me as well.
What do you like, Larry?
Well, I mean, cautions are definitely Jimmy Johnson's friends, but I think Ryan Newman is a good friend, too, back there, 2 tires. I'm like DW. That 18 car, we watched it here a couple of years ago. We watched it last year. He's the man that's lurking back there in 4th position.
And as usual, Bobby Labonte's car shows no signs of the usual Martinsville beat and bang. He's taking care of his equipment. He's in a strong position, 4th place. It's Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, Rusty Wallace, Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Pace car's in.
Bobby Labonte's doing what got DW to victory lane so many times here. Clean race car. Now it's time to go.
When they get the flag, 61 to go.
Green.
Ricky Rudd in the 21 car, remember, after that flat tire, being on the lead lap all day long, he's up there beside our leader right now, 2 laps down. Trying to get one of them back right now against Jimmy Johnson. This would be a good time to do it, though.
Jimmy would really, really like to clear him and get out there and smooth sailing, get out in clean air and be gone.
Tell you, Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, he got a good run off turn 4 on the bottom. He's going to challenge his teammate, Ryan Newman, for 2nd position. He's going to challenge for the lead here off 2.
There's just so much grip down low off of turn 4. If you can get out there and get in it.
Outside, outside.
Rusty Wallace, 6-time winner here, but it's been a long drought between victory lanes for Wallace.
Ryan Newman's not ready to give up. Look at the bite he got off turn 4 on the high side with those 2 tires.
No team orders here between the 2 and the 12.
No, sir. It's time to go.
They're racing for a win. I mean, you're up there in 2nd and 3rd place. You can't roll over.
Look, Ryan Newman, the same place he got to run on Rusty Wallace a while ago, off turn 4 on the high side.
Rusty shoves it in there on the bottom in turn 1. Newman gets a little loose, and there goes Rusty.
Oh, no. Close. Rusty's getting a good jump off of 2. Ryan's getting a good jump off of 4.
The best thing that could happen for Jimmy Johnson in the 48, these guys keep battling side by side back there.
Here's where Rusty's really good. Getting down into turn 1. He really packs it in there hard.
And while these guys are going side by side, Bobby Labonte, that 18 car, he's pulling up to their rear bumper, as well as Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser car.
And if Rusty had time, he'd call somebody and say, we asked the 12 to cut me some slack, but he don't have time right now.
His hands are full.
Labonte did not get a good restart, and he's had to make up some ground. But he's closing in.
His car, it looks like he's just sitting there. Like he knows that when those 2 guys get out from being side by side, he can take them.
Newman taken up the racetrack by Wallace, but Rusty cannot clear his teammate.
He'll get him here, though. He's going to drive down here and slide right up in front of him and open the door for Bobby.
Still out there. Still out there.
It's not what he wanted to hear. Still out there. Now, Wallace goes head hunting the leader, who is still Jimmy Johnson.
I tell you what, guys, we were ready to write that 48 car off. Even Chad Knaus was ready to write that 48 car off. I'm impressed the way that race car is handling without changing tires a while ago, when the man behind him, Rusty Wallace, changed 4 after 30 laps on those tires.
He's got his work cut out for him now, though, Larry. I mean, he's just hanging on. Rusty is definitely better. Gets that jump off of turn 4. He's going to drive down under him right here. Jimmy's not going to put up a real big fight, I don't think.
Outside.
Jimmy got a good bite off turn 2 that time, pulls back in front of Rusty Wallace, headed down the backstretch.
Give Jimmy Johnson a lot of credit. He is making the most of what he's got left.
And he has to now. 52 laps to go.
Rusty is, man, he gets down into turn 1 good.
Now Ryan Newman in the 12, he's back up there challenging Rusty for 2nd position. And I think Bobby Labonte's quicker than that Ryan Newman right now. He just can't get by him.
He's just waiting for him to slip up and give him an opening.
Because Bobby has not, as we say, used up his stuff.
But I'm looking at this whole group right here, 448 laps, 5 hours. We got our top 6 cars right there nose to tail.
Look out, Jimmy, look out. Ooh.
It's where Jimmy's so strong, he gets a good bite on the high side off turn 2. He's able to win the drag race down the backstretch.
Boy, I can't tell you how hard that is to be out there in a car that's got older tires than the other guy and try to hold him off.
It's very easy to run out of racetrack where he's coming off turn 2 over there, DW.
Yeah, that's why when Rusty gets under him, I mean, all you got to do is nerf him a little bit.
The last time a Dodge went to victory lane in Martinsville, and Rusty is in a Dodge, 1975, Dave Marcus. Of course, they were out of the sport for many years, but they've been back for a while and have not yet taken the flag here at Martinsville since their return.
Boy, Rusty fought so hard at Bristol to come up short. Surely today he can get by Jimmy Johnson.
Hey, Bobby Labonte starting to use that bumper. He just gave Ryan Newman the boot in turn 4.
But I think when he did it, Mike, he had to roll out of the throttle and broke his momentum as well.
Here's Rusty back underneath Jimmy Johnson. Whoa, Rusty back got sideways.
Rusty does not get off turn 2 that good. He gets off turn 4 good, but not turn 2.
He's going to have to work it on the outside, because I don't believe Jimmy's going to give up the bottom down here.
Side by side for 3rd, Bobby Labonte in the 18, Ryan Newman in the 12, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car right behind that group.
See what that little bump did? Mr. Newman, hello.
I'm here.
of the front four, only Johnson has been to victory lane this year. He was the winner at Darlington.
Ricky Rudd is sitting up here right in front of these guys. The problem they're going to have is if they catch back up with him, that could be a factor.
And I would say, Darrell, with about 45 laps to go, if we'd stay green, they're going to catch the tail end of the pack, and that could really be a huge factor. Jimmy runs so low. He runs right against the curve off turn 4. If Rusty passes him in 3 and 4, it's going to have to be on the high side.
Here he comes. He's going to get a good run underneath of him. This could be it.
Outside, outside. Got your door outside.
I think Rusty may win the drag race this time.
He's got him this time because Rusty likes the bottom down here. All Jimmy can do is fight.
Yeah, Jimmy's on the wrong side of the racetrack now, and Rusty clears him for the lead. Caution is out for turn 2. Kevin Harvick, Derek Cope, and Joe Nemechek, and Ricky Craven.
Good break for the 21 car.
He gets one of his 2 laps back. But Brendan Gaughan, Rusty Wallace's teammate in the 77, he'll get the free pass.
Slow down.
And Wallace will be the leader. Now, Larry Mack, do you stay or do you go?
I just believe that you're going to see some guys come to pit road. I just believe you will. Now, Jimmy Johnson, he has to stay out. He's already made his bed, but I think cars at the back of the pack will come to pit road for 4 fresh tires.
Larry Carter just told his driver, Rusty Wallace, you've only had 21, I think he said, green flag laps on those tires. Wants the leader to stay out.
Yeah, I think we will see most of the guys at the front stay out. I think we'll see guys near the back, lead lap cars. I think we'll see them get 4 tires.
Yeah, there's still 19 cars on the lead lap. If Johnson comes now, it'd be almost impossible to get back to the front in 40 laps.
Here's what happened in turn 2 to put us under caution for the 11th time. Joe Nemechek around, and he got banged by Ricky Craven at the tail end of that. Let's watch from Jeremy Mayfield. Boy, that had a days of fucking look to it, didn't it?
Please tell me where to go.
From Kevin Harvick, following Mayfield and going the other way.
About the best thing to do driving into that is what he did, just stop.
Stop.
We need to document Kevin Harvick, even after being involved in that accident a while ago. He's still on the lead lap back in 19th, and these guys would love to still be running at the checkered flag because he's been running at the end of 46 consecutive races.
Very few lead lap cars pit. Tony Stewart, I believe, is he the only one?
Michael, he's still on the lead lap.
That's right.
Jarrett's back there.
Pretty much all the guys back there from about 13th on back.
So in the pits, Joe Nemechek, Tony Stewart, Ricky Craven, the 29 of Kevin Harvick, Michael Waltrip, Scott Wimmer, and the 88 of Dale Jarrett. Under caution again. 42 laps to go. The vice turns tighter in Martinsville. The Advance Auto Parts 500 on Fox is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. For the best parts, people, and price, we're ready in advance. Rusty Wallace, man, as he was in April of 2001 in California, honoring his friend and the man he fought for so many years on the racetracks, Dale Earnhardt, who had perished that February in Daytona. Wallace, jubilant in victory lane, but that was 3 long years ago, 105 races to be exact, and now Rusty Wallace looking for his 7th Martinsville win and his 55th career triumph.
Should have been reminded you know how to restart a race.
Downstairs quickly.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. got on the radio a couple of moments ago and indicated that he expects this race to get very physical. He asked that his spotter communicate to Jamie McMurray, it's okay to beat on my back bumper. Knock it off if you have to. Just don't spin me out, he said. I don't want to go to the back.
Green flag. Does. 37 laps to go.
You know, for Rusty, this is a lot like it was for me. I remember in 1987, the only race I won was here. And back in 1975, the only race I won was here.
Rusty got a good restart. Pulled out about a 3-car length advantage over Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
pass through for Jeff Green. Here comes Ryan Newman working on second spot. Jeff Green penalized for not restarting in the proper position. Labonte to the inside.
He's got to go. If he's going to win this race, he's got to go. He can't, he's got to use everything he's got right now. He's got about 10 laps to get around these guys, and he's got to get up there.
And Bobby Labonte, like Rusty Wallace on that last pit stop, he did take 4 tires, where Ryan Newman has 2. Jimmy Johnson has none. Steve Burns, how about that 18 car?
Larry Mack, the problem he has is on the last caution, he told his crew that he's losing forward bite off of the corners.
The problem he has right now, Steve, is that number 8 Budweiser car, because Dale Earnhardt Jr. got a good bite off turn 4, and I think if it hadn't been for Ryan Newman, probably he would have went by Bobby Labonte. Now Bobby Labonte's side by side with Ryan Newman for 3rd.
It's hard to get off a turn 2 underneath somebody like that. That car's working pretty good when you can do that.
Still 20 lead lap cars. Brendan Gaughan got the free pass on that caution. Rusty Wallace has now opened it up to a lead of more than a second. Jimmy Johnson looks in his rearview mirror and sees this battle for 3rd. Side by side, Labonte, Newman, and Dale Jr.
And Darryl, you have to believe Rusty Wallace does not want to see that green car in his rearview mirror back there running in 2nd. He knows what that would mean.
Right now, Rusty is opening up a nice lead. It'd be pretty hard to catch him if something doesn't give here pretty quick.
Johnson left the bottom open. Here comes Labonte. Wasn't much Jimmy could do about it.
Got to lean on him. Got to lean on him, buddy, if you're going to get up there.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car got real loose off turn 2. He was almost under Ryan Newman the last time through.
They don't give a prize for best looking car when this is over with.
No, sir.
Matt.
While Jimmy Johnson's trying to hold on to 2nd, he's telling Chad Canals that the 2 car is dropping stuff on the racetrack. He has said it twice. Chad has talked to the officials. They are telling Chad they are looking at it.
And we're told it's from the overflow as we look at Rusty Wallace's rear bumper cam on the Miller Dodge. All right, Rusty's lead right now, mark at 1.53 seconds on Bobby Labonte with 30 laps to go. We'll check and see what happens to that interval.
I said he had 10 laps to get around those cars and 10 laps to catch Rusty and 10 laps to pass him. So he's got it. He's breaking it down just right.
And right now, Bobby Labonte is beating Rusty just ever so slightly since both of them are in clean traffic by almost a 10th a lap the last 2 laps.
Rusty got such a huge jump on that restart.
So, Darrell, as that plays out, it means he would catch him in 15 laps at that pace and have 15 laps to try to beat him.
Yeah, I got a feeling that we see how hard it is to pass. And Rusty's pretty hungry, I would think. And I might need to go put a pretty tough fight.
Now, that lap, Rusty actually beat Bobby Labonte the amount that he had beat him the lap prior to that.
What can Rusty do besides run time trial laps right now, Darrell?
Don't look back.
Look at this battle right here. This is a battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th right here. And look at Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. With 27 laps to go, he's back in the picture.
Hard to believe that Jeff Gordon, after damaging the nose on what became the red flag incident, has been able to come back from 21st to battle for the top 5. That was his goal, and that's what he's doing.
I'm behind you.
I think Jamie McMurray on the 42 car got a little damage that time, but look who else is creeping into that picture right there.
Matt Kenseth in that 17.
I'm telling you.
Guys, the last 2 laps, you talked about it a while ago, a 2.5 seconds. Bobby Labonte has chopped 2/10 off that lead, Mike.
Oh, he's coming, and the thing about Rusty is every time you look back, you're losing time. Hit your marks. Don't make any mistakes. Don't spin the rear tires. There's a lot of don'ts for a driver right at this point, but the big thing is don't look back. Just drive as hard as you can go.
He's got to focus on everything but the 18 car.
You got it. You get to looking behind you, and the first thing you know.
Faster than we are. 03, good lap.
2 veteran drivers having a great run in the closing stages. Dale Jarrett's fought his way up to 13th, passing Tony Stewart. Right behind him, Kyle Petty restarted 13th. He's battling with Michael Waltrip for a top 15 finish.
And the 88 and the 20, Stewart and Jarrett both stopped for tires.
They really had nothing to lose.
A few cars that did.
Kyle did not. He stayed out and trying to hang on to a top 15. Junior bumps Newman, turn 2, and is going to get underneath with a little bump and run.
Newman's got to be really struggling, Larry, with those 2 tires.
Got a nose, clear.
But I'll say one thing, he is tenacious. He never gives up.
Got a nose.
I tell you who's not giving up, though. We just talked about him. Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. He's pulling down below Ryan Newman in the 12 car. This will be a battle for 5th position. Jeff Gordon's one of the cars that did change 4 tires when Rusty Wallace and Bobby Labonte did. But speaking of those 2 guys right there, Bobby Labonte is reeling him in.
Slow car up here. Nemechek's going to, no, he's going to be out of the way.
Going to be a while before Rusty catches a pack of traffic. Going to be quite a while, maybe toward the end of this race. Might be able to use some of those lap cars to advantage. Nemechek pulls aside.
20 laps to go.
And the interval at 20 laps, we'll catch it next time by. It was 1.53 seconds. At 30 laps, it's 1.007 seconds at 20 laps. So at that rate, they'd be side by side at the finish.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
You know what? They will be.
Bob Labonte cleanly gets by Joe Nemechek in the 01 car, so now he has clean racetrack in front of him. 19 laps to go.
I don't know, Darrell. This is starting to have a checkers or wreckers look to it.
Well, Bobby Labonte is such a clean race car driver. He is not going to rough Rusty up. And he knows Rusty hadn't won a race in a while. I'm thinking he probably knows he better not make him mad.
Junior tries Jimmy Johnson. Not that time. That's for 3rd place.
Here's the battle for 5th again with Jeff Gordon in 24, Ryan Newman in the 12 car.
Well, don't you know Fatback's down there jumping up and down on that toolbox about now and say, come on, Bobby, you can do it. This is when the crew starts saying, you're the man, you're chasing him down, go.
Bobby Labonte has 1 top 5 finish this year. Hasn't won this season. His only short track win came right here at Martinsville in 2002.
Now, their last 2 or 3 laps, their lap times have pretty much evened out. Rusty's not beating Bobby. Bobby's not beating Rusty. And next time by, we'll have 16 to go. Bobby's car gets down in the quarter good, especially into turn 3, and will still rotate through the center of the corner.
That's one thing I noticed about these tires. They got really good. You can really drive in hard with them. They get a little problem hooking up, but they drive in good.
Rusty's hunting, Darrell. At turns 1 and 2, he's looking for the high part of the racetrack again, trying to find a line that's faster than Bobby Labonte's.
Rusty's a little better in 1 and 2, but looks like they're even, or maybe Bobby's a little better in 3 and 4.
3rd place side-by-side Junior. Having a hard time trying to clear the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Now he does.
But we've been watching him the last 2 or 3 laps. He's been working the high side as he did the last time through 3 and 4, and that lap through 1 and 2.
Clear, that's it.
Traffic ahead for the leader. Scott Wimmer, Morgan Shepherd, and Derek Cope. May give Rusty a little relief or may hold him up. We'll see.
14 to go. These guys are pretty much running identical lap times now. Bobby can't get off turn 2 as good as Rusty.
No, he's just a little loose off of that corner, but he's really good down there in 3 and 4.
Scott Wimmer did a great thing, moved up and aside and waved both drivers through. He doesn't want to factor in the outcome of this one.
And for a man 6 laps down, that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. Uh-oh, Shepherd is double wide with Derek Cope.
Morgan's been pulling down for everybody all day long. I'm pretty sure he will do it now.
Same thing. Quite a contrast to the finish in Texas, where Johnny Sauter was right in front of the 2 leaders at the flag. Good courtesy being shown here by the lap down cars.
12 to go.
And these 2 guys here have been racing each other for the last 20 laps. And Jeff just cannot get around Ryan Newman in the 12 car. And he's only got 2 tires. He only took 2 tires on that stop.
But Darrell, the interval has grown. Rusty Wallace has gotten through this traffic a little better than Bobby Labonte, although now, he's got a lap car to split him from the 2nd place car.
You know, there's a point in every chase where you say, I can't do it. I can't get there, and you just kind of relax and say, look, I can run 2nd, but I can't get to him. And even if I did, I don't think I could pass him.
It'll be 10 to go. At 20 to go, the gap was 1 second even. Now there's no lap cars ahead.
10 to go, clear by 6.
10 to go, 0.745 seconds. Labonte knocked a quarter second out of Rusty's lead, but that's all in the last 10 laps.
Yeah, it's going to take a big mistake by Rusty, and that lap car of Nemechek didn't help Bobby Labonte any.
That ticking he hears is that grandfather clock that awaits the winner in victory lane.
They just black flagged the 01 because it's not up to speed.
So we have 9 laps to go. Rusty pretty much has a full straightaway in front of him as far as clean racetrack. Be 8 to go next time.
He's in great shape now. I mean, the only thing he just has to not make a mistake.
And Bobby really drove his car off into turn 3. That time he paid the price from the center off. Couldn't get off the corner. Car wouldn't stay down.
And Jeff Gordon and Ryan Newman are still going at it.
And you wonder why they fill this place time after time.
Well, the way I see it, it's filled, and 91,000 people are standing on their feet right now.
Yeah, we're going to be fighting them all in the traffic afterwards, but that's okay. Small price to pay to see a great shootout here in Martinsville.
And all the people are on their feet cheering Rusty on because they know how long it's been since he won, and I think this will be a very popular win.
6 to go next time by.
I told him this morning, I said, Bud, if you're going to win a race, this is one of your little avenues right here you ought to go down.
That 5th place race now has 3 cars in it. Jamie McMurray has joined Jeff Gordon and Ryan Newman. 6 to go.
And I tell you, we're not seeing him right now. We're seeing a battle right here between Jeff Gordon and Ryan Newman. We've been talking about it. But Chad Knaus in that 48 car, if nothing happens in the next 5.5 laps, they look like they're going to have a top 5 finish, which considering where they were out there by themselves a while ago when the caution came out, not too bad. Look at Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, 3 wide with Joe Nemechek and Derek Cope off turn 4.
You can't wait for the lap cars to clear themselves. You got to go.
Now you do.
5 laps to go. Oh, Bobby Labonte gets within 3 car lengths going into turn 3. And with 5 to go, the margin is 0.6 of a second.
Oh, he's trying, and Rusty, this one, Rusty knows I can't make a mistake. I can let him get to me. I don't think he can pass me.
Guys, there's 3.5 laps to go. The red flag window was 5 to go, so we're past that window.
Boy, if Bobby could get off the corner like he gets in, Larry, he would have the car to beat.
Just don't know if he's going to have enough time. Rusty's really going to have to mess up as we have 3 to go.
And Jeff Gordon and Ryan Newman are still the show. Gordon is good into the middle of the corner. Newman is good coming off the corner as they continue their fight for 5th.
It's almost like it's going to be who beats who off turn 4 on the last lap.
Exactly.
2 to go.
And the gap is about 4 car lengths.
2 to go. Clear by 3.
He'll get there, but I think Rusty's still good enough that he's not going to not have to worry.
No traffic in front of Rusty Wallace as they head off into turn 3.
McMurray underneath Gordon now. This is for 6th. They couldn't get to Newman. And it'll be the white flag for Rusty Wallace this time.
One more time.
First time he's seen it in 105 races.
Now all these fans are standing. Now all of them are waving to Rusty Wallace as he goes down the backstretch for the final time off into turn 3.
Gordon gives Newman the boot turn 2. They're going to be side by side. Here they come to the flag. Rusty Wallace wins the Advance Auto Parts 500 for his 55th career victory. Here's the battle for 5th. Gordon under Newman, but Ryan got the rocket launch off turn 4 and holds him off.
Well, yay, Rusty, and even more, yay, Rusty, but yay, Larry Carter. Come over there as the crew chief, and boy, has he made a difference.
And this is his first win as a Nextel Cup crew chief, Larry Carter.
Bobby Labonte 2nd, Earnhardt Jr. 3rd. Jimmy Johnson 4th, Ryan Newman 5th.
Somewhere in the middle of that's Larry Carter.
Larry boy, man, old Larry boy's going to be having a good time tonight. There he is, right there.
6 through 10, Jeff Gordon, Jamie McMurray, Matt Kenseth, Sterling Marlin, and Dale Jarrett. Rusty said earlier this season, donuts are for kids.
Look at his teammate, Ryan Newman, high-fiving him. There you go.
Rusty, in each of his victories, honors fallen comrades. This is what Alan Kulwicki christened as the Polish victory lap. Driver's side window and arm out to the fans. When Alan created this after his first win, he said, I wanted to do something that folks would remember me by. He did it. And Rusty, who shared a sponsorship with Alan through part of their career, continues to honor his friend.
It feels good when you're riding around the driver's side, waving to the fans. You know, you like here, I like the way you say.
I think that's our crew chief's first win. He's going to enjoy this one.
We know it's been 5 hours, but I think it was worth every minute of the wait. It'll be a celebration in Mooresville tonight.
Something else that is, I think, wonderful about Martinsville Speedway. Victory Lane is right on the start-finish line, right in front of the fans.
That's where it should be.
Yeah, here it's coming around turn 2 over there now. It'll be here in a minute.
Yeah, John Deere's bringing it. You raced a lot of years against Rusty Wallace. You've got to know what this means to him, Darrell.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you get to that point in your career where, I tell you, you start off and you end up the same way. You wonder when you start if I'm ever going to win a race. And then when it kind of dries up a little bit, you say, am I ever going to win a race?
I think the crowd loves it as much as he does.
You don't hear any boos from that crowd.
Dick Berggren.
The winner after almost 3 years. How many nights did you dream of winning another day?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I got to tell you, it's been a long time coming. And we've got such good cars. And Larry Carter, we hired him, got the crew straightened out, and, man, the whole hot rod started rock and rolling again. It feels good to win again. It really does. I'm coming off that corner. I'm thinking I'm pulling everybody. I see old Bobby Labonte closing on me. I said, no, man, he can't be catching me, you know. But I had a great day today, man. What can I say? Finally back in the winner's circle. Got a great car. We've had a second, a fifth, and a win. We're on track, and we're going to win this damn championship, darn championship. I'm ready for it, man. I'll tell you, it's exciting.
What has turned the team around, Rusty?
I'd say Larry Carter's been the main guy that's turned it around. A whole team effort. I've had a lot of great crew chiefs. Larry reminds me of old Buddy Parrott when Buddy was with me. He just got the chemistry working. The team loves working for him. I told Larry, I said, Larry, we got to get a pit crew, man. You got to rock and roll for him. I just can't go like this no more. He found the right guy, put him in there, and 13-second pit stops are back. But boy, I tell you what, back to the regular old style. This thing handled like $1 million all day long. We put the tires on at the right time. 24 was tough, 48 was tough, I know, but hey, we're in victory circle.
And Rusty drove like a champion as well.
Thank you very much.
Let's go to Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Dick, and we welcome all of you to the Nextel post-race show. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed, and thanks for staying with us here in Martinsville. Rusty Wallace at age 47 from St. Louis, Missouri. Russell William Wallace, the winner here as he celebrates. Let's check in with Steve Burns, trackside.
All right, thanks, Chris, with Bobby Labonte. Bobby, boy, you guys fought a loose car, but you kept getting better and better and better. Would you have had a shot to get Rusty if there were more laps?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that we're about out of right rear tire. You know, our car was a little bit too loose, and we just kept, kept digging on it, but couldn't quite get him there at the end. We kept gaining on it, but it kept getting looser and looser. So, but all these guys in the Interstate Battery Chevrolet, we weren't that good yesterday afternoon, and then made some changes this morning. Guys had some good pit stops towards the end of the race, and got track position when we needed it. So it was all in all, it was a good day for us. And congratulate Rusty on winning at Martinsville. I mean, it was awesome for him to win today, and I wish he could have won somewhere else other than today, obviously. But anyway, congratulate him and those guys. They did a great job, and we had a good race there for second. Dale Jr. and the 12 and the 48 there for a while, and got by them and tried to get on the heels of the 2 car, but just couldn't quite get there.
And Bobby, you gave Rusty a friendly nudge at the end of that race. You know how hard it is to win these things these days.
Yeah, it is. And, finishing second twice this year is really good for our race team, builds some momentum and stuff like that. And it's a good point stay for us to get back up there. I don't know if we'll get in the top 10, but, definitely gain. I think we lost some last weekend from finishing 29th, I think it was. I know we lost some. I don't know where to. So anyway, this will help out. And, we talked a little bit at the break, and his car was really good, and really glad to see him win.
Congratulations, Bobby. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Jimmy Johnson just received a hug by your crew chief, Chad Canals, top 5, but you guys were talking about the debate to pit, no pit, and I know it's going to be frustrating for you, Jim.
Yeah, it is. I guess we won Darlington with about a 5th place car, and then we finished 4th today with a car that we felt like we could have won the race with, but it's just one of those deals. If we would have, faked it and stayed out, or did come in, I should say, maybe if you guys would have stayed out, you never know how it works. We tried this strategy at Bristol, and it worked against us, and we finished 12th or something, so we thought it was going to work for us either way, but all in all, put that aside, a great solid effort for the Lowe's team today. Hope all the employee owners are happy. I know we are, and that should help us out in the points, and keep chipping away at it. This used to be one of my hardest tracks to come to, and we almost won here today.
And a great drive to hold off the 2 and the 12 for quite a long time.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be exciting. I knew Rusty was pretty hungry, and I knew if I started chopping him or blocking him, I was going to have a chrome horn stuck in my rear. So, I left him a lane. We raced hard, rubbed a little bit, put on a good show, but he was much better, and he got by, and so did Bobby. So, just one of those deals.
Second straight top 5 at Martinsville for Jimmy Johnson, and it's a big day for the entire Team Penske, even Brendan Gaughan going to victory lane.
And Rusty Wallace ending a streak of 105 races without a win. He had to fight off guys like Dale Earnhardt Jr., who will be the points champion. We'll chat with him when we come back, and more with Rusty Wallace. His first win ever in a Dodge. He's won before in a Pontiac and a Ford. We'll be back on Fox in a moment. Well, it took a pothole and an unofficial halftime delay of an hour for Rusty Wallace to win the Advance Auto Parts 500 Pulling into victory lane, he strolled down a career path, crossing the victory line here.
Good job, guys. Good job. Real proud of everybody. Man, we finally broke that losing streak. All right. Man, baby. About time, huh? That's a wonderful feeling, I'll tell you that.
Larry Carter is crew chief, his new crew chief, and there is Rusty Wallace continuing to celebrate. A familiar spot for him. It's just been a while. Let's check in now with Steve Burns and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Steve?
And Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s 5th straight top 5 finish here at Martinsville, and that's old school racing. Tell us about the race here at Martinsville.
Yeah, that seemed like it was about 15-year-old racing there. We was beating and banging there at the end, but it was a lot of fun. The car was good, real hot today, but the car stayed good all day long. There's a restart where I was in front of Rusty and behind that 48 and that 12, and I thought that was the place to be, and I needed to be there to get by the 12 and 48, and I was going to win the race. And when the corner and the car wouldn't turn, Rusty went around the outside, and 18 got by me too, and before the car came in, it was, they were done gone, and just unfortunate because I felt like we could have won, but again, another top 5, and good points today for us. And the Budweiser crew, they had great pit stops too.
This team's maturing a lot as well as the driver.
Yeah, and I don't know how much more mature we can get, but we're having a good time, and we're getting good finishes, and the wins will come. I ain't too worried about it. We let one get away today, though. I really feel like it.
All right, thank you, Dale. Let's go to Chris Myers, who is the model of maturity.
I thought you were talking immaturity. I quickly lit up with Jeff Hammond of the Hollywood Hotel. Rusty, here's a guy who lobbied for the softer tires, right, and the smaller spoilers over years. He finally gets it changed as a crew chief. There were people who maybe hinted that he should cut back on his races because he hadn't won in a while. He's not only talking about winning races, he's talking about winning another championship.
Well, I think right now, if you believe in attitude, he's got the right kind of attitude. And it's really great to see him back in victory lane because he's always had a very positive attitude. I'm glad to see Larry Carter come on board and give him the spark necessary to get him back to victory lane.
And his teammate with Penske is standing by with our Matt Yoka. Matt?
Penske cars 1st and 5th, and Ryan Newman, the 2-tire call by Matt Borland. That really, how difficult was it to hold on, but that really helped out getting that top 5.
Yeah, every time we took 4 tires, we seemed to lose some spots. We took 2 tires. We came out first of all the people that pitted. So just a little daredevil call, but got us a top 5 today. I think that we had a top 5 car, just track position-wise. That's what we had to play it. So congratulate, Rusty and his team. And we'll just take the all-tail Dodge and go on.
Ryan Newman 5th today at Martinsville.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Let's go upstairs, and it took quite a series of events for this to happen. Mike, Larry, and Dale, we were watching all of it, but happy for a guy like Rusty and a great finish for a wild day here in Martinsville.
Chris, nice to see Rusty and Patty Wallace and their family celebrating. Rusty is the only 47-year-old teenager I know. I like first-time winners, but Darrell, I love first-time and a long-time winners.
You know what Rusty's feeling right now? Relief.
Sure.
Finally got some pressure off of him. Finally doesn't have to answer that question about think he'll ever win again. It's just good to see Rusty. He has the excitement. He has the enthusiasm. He's got the leadership now he needs. He could be tough the rest of the year down the road.
And Larry, he took care of his stuff all day.
Yeah, I mean, he did. He was a little disappointed in his qualifying run on Friday, but I think after yesterday's practice, he knew he had a good race car. I knew he couldn't do his interview, though, without saying hot rod. But now he's showing that consistency, and you're going to see it here as we look at the points, Mike.
Rusty moves up to 8th in the standings, into the top 10, 157 points out of first. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be the new point leader, going to a place where he's been most successful, Talladega next week.
Yeah, they just keep, Dale Jr., Kurt Busch, and Matt Kenseth, they just swap the lead every week. It's been fun to watch, too.
Talladega, though, here at Martinsville, you control your own destiny. Next week, the other 242 guys control your destiny.
From the smallest track to the biggest, from the smallest booth to the Hollywood Hotel. Chris Myers, send us home.
All right, well, in the last 3 races, Rusty Wallace went from 23rd to 8th in the points, as we saw. And Jeff Hammond, you talk about young guys, 24-year-old Casey Kane. You see Dale Earnhardt Jr. threatening here, but a veteran like Rusty Wallace winning on a track. I mean, he is the short track king.
Now you got to think of it like this right now. He's got 7 wins here at Martinsville, and he and Jeff Gordon are the only multiple winners at this racetrack since 1993. So that's pretty impressive.
When you look at the bigger picture of what this does as we get ready to go to Talladega, and you see that obviously Dale Earnhardt Jr. very comfortable there and now has the points lead, and this is what he's talked about before, setting a pace for that championship run.
Well, I think with Dale Earnhardt Jr., I think he's pretty much summed it up. He wants to win as many races, just like Matt Kenseth, as he can, and he feels like right now he's got the team to get it done. He's very frustrated. I think we kind of saw that because he didn't win here today. He felt like he had the car to beat and let one get away from him.
As they don't give him a restrictor plate now. That's the last thing they're thinking
like a couple
about.
Of kids now. You tell me I don't look like a kid right there.
Well, I mean, Rusty, we all know that he's a pilot, right? He loves to fly. He says he'd be a commercial pilot if he wasn't racing cars. We'll see if he'll go flying around with everybody else next weekend when we're in Talladega on Friday. You'll see the qualifying on speed. And then on Saturday, FX has Cup practice, happy hour, the final session, and the Busch race at 2 o'clock Eastern on Fox. And then on Sunday, we'll get things going with NASCAR this morning on Fox Sports Net, the pre-race show at 1 o'clock Eastern. Remember last year, 27 cars involved in the big one before Dale Earnhardt Jr. survived. There were 43 lead changes in last year's race at Talladega. That was the most in any event last year, and some people finding their way home through the train tracks, and they had to hang around, more than 90,000 fans here in Martinsville, through a concrete surface delay that was worth waiting for, especially for the guy in the 2-car, Rusty Wallace. We want to thank all of you for hanging around a little extra with us on Fox on a day where the race was extended. Maybe a career, some doubt it should be extended, was revived. Rusty Wallace back in a familiar place in Victory Lane. For all of us on the crew, I'm Chris Myers. Thanks for joining us here on Fox, where America gathers every weekend for NASCAR. See you next weekend from Talladega. Take care.